Welcome to the Terrible Podcast with your hosts from SteelersDepot.com, where you can find all your latest and greatest Steelers news. It's Dave Bryan and Alex Kozora, always lit, talking Steelers.
And now, here's Dave and Alex.
Welcome to the Terrible Podcast, Season 16, Episode 9. He's Dave Bryan. I'm Alex Kozora, SteelersDepot.com. Thanks for being back with us this Wednesday. Steelers Nation Daily 2025 Steelers training camp in the books. Team leaving Latrobe, heading back to their facility on the south side, the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex. Don't believe there's a practice today, but a joint practice against Tampa Bay tomorrow. Second preseason game Saturday, so we will no longer be covering the day-to-day practices, but still watching from afar, evaluating these games, getting ready for cutdowns, which is happening in 13 days, less than 2 weeks. So jam-packed show today, recapping camp, the Jaguars game, Cam Heyward's comments, some Connor Heyward stuff. Jalen Ramsey had a great interview on the pivot. There was a lot happening, Dave.
Yeah, it's a great time to be alive. And first, kudos to you on another great coverage of training camp. And I said this last night on the final recap special edition episode. I learned so much about this team during those 2.5, 3 weeks there through your eyes about especially what to look for going into that first preseason game and who's going to be running with what lines and those kind of things. So I like to look at it, and I tell people all the time on this show that I'm selfish when I get with you on those special edition podcasts, because those are designated for me to learn stuff, and then hopefully people, hopefully I'm asking questions that other people are wanting to ask as well too. So fantastic job once again by you. It seems like you had pretty good weather overall. I know you talked about the crowds being great out there this year for Friday Night Lights. Props to Tim Rice, our photographer. Props to Touring Plans for sponsoring you out there, and props to our Steelers Depot crew for handling the day-to-day operation stuff. So want to get that out of the way off the top.
Amen to all of that. Great summer. Great job by our entire Steelers Depot team. And thank you to all the readers who left nice comments on the site, just checked out the articles, the tweets, said hello at training camp, all the above. That is certainly appreciated, and that's what makes this whole thing possible. All right, Dave, let's dive on in. We're going to touch on training camp briefly, but really start exiting away from that. Just a general overview and primarily one last health check of this team. We won't have the day-to-day tweets of who's practicing and who's not going forward. Hopefully we'll hear some stuff from the media, but a bunch of guys not practicing yesterday. Some notables: Corey Trice Jr., Dante Kent, Calvin Anderson, Calvin Austin continued to miss. Y.A. Black missed his first day with a right elbow injury. It looked like Will Howard continues to miss with that right hand. He spoke with the media, is uncertain of his timetable to return, but still will keep some hope he can get back for that third and final preseason game on August 21st against Carolina. Aiden Williams not practicing. Jonnu Smith missed some time, but I think he's okay overall. Alex Highsmith working his way back. Aaron Rodgers was the big news injury-wise yesterday. He's okay. That's the headline, but got his foot stepped on during the second team period of practice. He got it wrapped up, his calf wrapped up a little bit. He finished the day. We won't know his status for, I guess, the Thursday practice. They don't practice today, I don't think. But overall, it seems like he's avoided any sort of injury, and so that is obviously very good news.
Yeah, I think the biggest question, and look, I don't think either of us were expecting Aaron Rodgers to play in the game against the Buccaneers on Saturday night, but we are expecting him, and he's talked about how much he gets out of the joint practices in relation to preseason games. If he doesn't take part in the scrimmage, then there's probably there's a little something to it. But he does have time anyway before the season starts. But Mike Tomlin was asked after practice yesterday if he saw what happened to Aaron Rodgers. He said he just got stepped on. It was nothing of any significance. He finished his work. And he was follow-up question that was there something with his shin? Did he get stepped on? Did he get cleated in his shin? He said, like I said, he just got stepped on. It was nothing of any significance. He finished his work. He didn't miss a rep. So That's that on that. As far as the health of the rest of the team, we saw unfortunately Cameron McCutcheon get waived a couple of days ago with that hamstring injury that he sustained late in the game against the Jaguars while being a jammer on the punt. He cleared waivers and reverted to IR. Unfortunate thing for him. I think the thing that you hope for is maybe he gets an injury settlement real quick here. Maybe he's a guy that this team can circle back around to and add to the practice squad at a later date. A couple of those young cornerbacks, Corey Trice Jr., Dante Kent, man, you just hate to see those kids miss the amount of camp that they missed. And the same really goes for two of the guys that we kind of had penciled in as backup offensive linemen, and Ryan McCollum and Calvin Anderson, and doesn't sound like we're too terribly hopeful to see either of those guys play Saturday night, but that is a few days away. Overall, I mean, you feel pretty good about the health of this team, all things considered. I mean, obviously, you'd like to have a clean slate on all these guys and all like that, but you feel pretty good about the health of the team overall?
I do. I know that list I rattled off sounds big and scary, but it's training camp. You go to 31 other teams you have listed are probably similar for that. There are no seemingly super long-term injuries. Pittsburgh avoided that. Dean Lowry was the most severe one, but not somebody that was, all due respect to him, critical to this team. So Trice and Kent, we'll see if those guys can make their way back. Probably be a race against time. McCollum, I think, is slowly working his way back. Don't know if he'll play in this game. Maybe he's got an outside chance to do so. But I mean, I think overall, compared to past camps and just the NFL at large, look at the Chargers, for example, what they lost in Rashawn Slater, unfortunately. I think Pittsburgh's in a good spot.
Yeah, but you do have 2 preseason games yet to go, and a lot of
Right.
stuff can happen there. So
And more practices. It's like
right.
they're done practicing. Dylan Cook hurt his foot last year right after training camp, so you never know what can happen.
Right. All right. Where to from here? Any overarching thoughts you want to close out on training camp?
Yeah, just some very big picture camp thoughts. I'll have some articles. My award show have camp stats finalized up on the site this morning. Defense looked really strong overall. They were the better unit of the two, which is no surprise given the talent, the personnel upgrades, and knowing offenses in general take more time to gel and coalesce, especially with this new look offense. Aaron Rodgers, his first team snaps coming in training camp. He got that mandatory minicamp, but only worked individually, did not participate in the team period, that one throwing session in Malibu. Not going to replicate whenever you go 11 on 11 full team against this defense, no less. But the offense got better as training camp went along. Granted, defense was missing some other stars. Cam Heyward, Jalen Ramsey missed some time, but he came back for Tuesday's final practice, had a really good day. Alex Highsmith, TJ Watt got his off days, et cetera, et cetera. So at least the offense had some progress overall. Defense looked really good overall. Troy Fautanu looked like a stud at right tackle. That was encouraging to see. Broderick Jones got better. The offensive line progressed throughout training camp, had a good showing in the preseason game. So, I mean, overall, I think it was a good camp. I think they're generally all probably good camps you can qualify it as, assuming you have no severe injuries, which Pittsburgh did not. But yeah, I just think overall, those are the big takeaways. The offense had some progression. Rodgers, I thought, looked good overall. A little up and down, had a bad day yesterday, but just overall looked like he can still play, and the defense looked really strong.
All right. And we had, what was it, 13 special edition of the podcast, and obviously recapped it in about 50, had the longest show, 50 something minutes, on Tuesday night. If people want to go back and listen to that, we got so much to cover today. I don't want to rehash a lot of stuff there, but, and obviously we're going to be getting into talking about the All-22 from the Jaguars game later in this show. We'll have some updated roster predictions that we're going to discuss on the Friday show. So, anything else before we move on?
No, let's move on to comments from the other day, kind of a Heyward edition of the show right now. Dave, stuff on Connor Heyward, Cam Heyward, the big story right now. His hold-in continues as he looks for a revised contract. He spoke with the media for the first time. I think that was Monday, kind of laid out his situation. So you're probably a little more in tune to what he said than I did, because I was at training camp and getting back and writing the report at the time. So what are kind of the takeaways that Cam had to say whenever he met the media?
Yeah, let's read from the transcript here, supplied by the team.
Is this a sermon? It sounds like. Open your Bible's up to
Yeah,
this verse.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm taking off my watch, and if you're a Roman Catholic, you know what that means.
I'm in
You're
the pews right now, Dave.
yeah. All right. Cam was first asked. The Holden news kind of surprised us all. We've seen you in practice. How did this transpire? When did you tell the team that you wanted a new deal? He said since late February, I think. My agent has been talking. Nothing more to report there. So, I mean, let's start with that little bit. Do you believe him? Do you believe that the Steelers have known that he's wanted his contract addressed since February?
Sure, no reason to believe he's lying. Now, how serious did the team know that he was going to hold in? And, what is the nature of knowing, I guess, can be semantics and debated. But sure, I take Cam at his word for that.
Do you think they were certain, before we go any further, do you think they were shocked by, and he only really participated in the ramp up period kind of overall, right?
That is the weird part about this hold in, because in some sense, it hasn't felt like a hold in. He practiced essentially like normal the first 4 days at acclimation period. Granted, not in pads, but he was working in team. Typically, things you don't do if you're holding in for a contract is work in team periods. And he was still, even after that, getting some work on the side, would go through individual. I think he was more active than, say, a TJ Watt was during his 2021 hold in. Now, Heyward has not practiced in teams since those first 4 days. And so that's been one clear dividing line. But for a long time, it kind of felt like normal and just felt like Heyward was getting some rest days because he's 36 and he doesn't need the reps and all that kind of stuff. So I think the methodology of this hold in has been a little unusual.
All right. If Adam Schefter had not come out with that, or if those guys had not come out with the report and all like that hit last week, would you have known any different?
Right. Not really. I mean, I guess it would have gotten to a point where the seventh straight day that Heyward didn't get a single snapping team, you might raise an eyebrow to it. But I mean, just overall, it felt pretty normal, pretty status quo compared to because it's not like Cam Heyward last year was getting a lot of camp time. He was getting days off pretty much every other day. So, it really didn't feel that much different.
All right. I know a lot of the talk seems to be about did Cam leak this? Did his agent leak this? Did the two need each other's approval to leak this? And the timing of it all. Is that just part of the sausage making? Is that not much of the discussion of the timing of this and how?
No, I don't find it super helpful to really spend a lot of time spinning the wheels thinking about who leaked it. I mean, it's probably more team oriented because the Boswell news came out right after that. So if it was Heyward's camp, then how does the Boswell camp or news about his, revised contract desires come out right after? But I really hadn't thought much about who leaked that information to Adam Schefter.
All right, and the other point of talk I see going around is do you view this as as any sort of a distraction to the team?
Not really. I mean, Heyward's still working like normal. Like I said, his workload is never been heavy in training camp these last couple of years, especially last season. And he's still in individual work. He's in the meeting room, as Terrell Austin said. So it's not really a distraction. I think the big takeaway that I have from what all that Heyward said, and I know this is the leverage game and posturing, but he didn't close the door on missing regular season games to get this revised contract that he seeks. Now, he didn't explicitly say that, and the question was kind of presented to him. Would you consider, maybe you have the transcript here there, Dave, but would you consider missing some time? And Heyward just didn't deny it. He didn't say, no, I'm definitely going to play in the regular season. I know he's doing that to try to preserve leverage that is hard to come by for a player in his situation, but that is certainly the comment, the headline that's getting the whole Steelers Nation buzzing.
Yeah, I think this is just a posturing point. He was asked, are you going to put next, let's see, where was it out here? Is that something you're willing to miss games over? He says, I think there are definitely options out there that could reflect that. So I view that. I don't know how you feel about this. I've got an idea, but I will be Whatever way this goes, I will be pretty shocked if Cam misses any games, if nothing gets done to his satisfaction with his contract. I mean, this guy hasn't missed a lot of games over his career due to injury or like end of season rest games. So he would have to be pretty pissed off, I think, to miss any games.
Yeah, I'm certainly not expecting that to happen. I mean, only he knows what's in his heart and in his head right now. I'm sure he does not want it to get to that point, so I don't think it will get to that point. I do think, though, optically, you you can't answer it in that way. I think Hayward has to be a savvier person. He's been in the media game long enough to know that if you answer it in that way and leave that door open, he knows he's already getting pretty much killed, in the PR battle right now. He's not looking like the victim here, and the team is holding him back. I mean, there's certainly a lot of sentiment against Cam Heyward, right or wrong, because they see him signing the contract last year. Now he wants another contract this year, even knowing last year's contract was no raise, as you've outlined. Just to me, it's kind of like politics versus policy. Your policy is your values, but your politics is how you present that. And I think the politics of what Hayward's doing with that by leaving that door open, by kind of making that a headline, was a really just bad PR move to, already make him look worse in the eyes of the fan base. Not that it matters a lot from won't he get a deal done, but it's just not a good look optically to leave that door ajar.
All right, I don't want to get too far ahead of our skis here because there are different elements here. I do want to discuss. I want to go back to the transcript here. He was asked, "What are you looking for?" He says, "I'm looking for my contract to be addressed. Honestly, looking to be valued in my eyes. When I look around at my position, I think I'm like 22nd as a D tackle and 36 as a D lineman. I know what I bring to this team and what I'm capable of on and off the field. So it's hard for me after the year I've had to justify playing at that number I'm playing at. I understand I signed a contract last year. To be completely honest with you, when I signed that, I told them when I have an all-pro year, expect me to come back. You can look at the contract and see what it was, but I think everybody kind of giggled a little bit. But in my head, I used it as a motivational, as motivational for improvement. Did It's hard to imagine Omar and company sitting in there and giggling at him. Maybe they did. Something evidently provoked that, but he did put it out there that, I told them that if I have an all-pro year, expect me to come back looking for more money, essentially.
Sure. No, I get the gist of it, and it's probably giggling. I don't think it was. I think it was a little tongue in cheek with just the thought of like the team went, yeah, okay, like, well, sure, Cam, if you come back and have a great season, and maybe a little skeptical about that and getting to that point, obviously at that point right now. So, but the thing later that I think is interesting too was, and maybe you can find the phrasing of the question because I don't remember it verbatim, was about kind of what are you looking for? Are you looking for guarantees? Kind of what you've talked about. The options are you can move money from 2026 into 2025, or you can guarantee money in 2026. And then Heyward was kind of saying that's sort of what I'm looking for, but I'm not entirely sure the phrasing of the question. Can you kind of go over that?
He was asked, "Are you going to put next year's bonus into some guarantee?" Or basically, he was asked, and sometimes these transcripts aren't verbatim with the question, more so with the answer. Basically, he was asked next year's roster bonus into some guarantees with this year. He says, "Being respectful to the process of what both sides are trying to accomplish, I'm going to say that that's something to think about." And that's the way I've kind of outlined this thing. There's really two plausible solutions to this thing. Either you bring ahead some or all or whatever of next year's 12 point whatever roster bonus into 2025 as a signing bonus, and then then move on from there and potentially have the same discussion next year during the off season, or you just go ahead and fully guarantee all the 14 whatever million that he's scheduled to earn next year, and that's as good as gold anyway, that way. So there's one of really two plausible ways to do that. And, either you move the money ahead to this year and then give it as a signing bonus and then prorate that out and make his cap hit go up by 3 point something million or so, this year, or you just say, look, uh, in good faith of what all has happened, why don't we, if we just fully guaranteed your 2026 money, is that will that suffice? And now obviously his cash flow from 2025 wouldn't change, but at least he's getting the security, because he mentioned security in here as well during some of the comments that he made. I think that's a happy medium in between potentially what he wants and what the team would potentially view as a option that's very plausible.
The answer that Hayward just gave, was that affirming the first idea of moving money into now or guaranteeing money for next year? I still can't quite get my head around what he was affirming there.
I took it as basically when we ask a couple of questions and I say yes. In other words, a couple of those things, a combination of the two, or just one of the two things might suffice.
Okay, gotcha. I still think he's going to at least want, now one thing and getting are two different things, but I think he's going to want money now because he made the point of, I am underpaid. I am the, what did he say, 25th defensive tackle and 36th defensive lineman. If you guarantee just 2026 roster bonus, even to the hill, everything's guaranteed next year, he's still the 36th paid defensive lineman, the 20-something paid interior defensive lineman. He doesn't change that status, and I think that's what's bugging him and irking him the most, which is why I think he's going to want some money. The security was the contract he signed last year. That was a security contract, in theory, about getting the extension through 2026, which is, he's on record saying he wants to play through next season. So that was that part. Hopefully I can retire a Steeler. I don't have to worry about free agency. To me, he no longer is looking for security in this deal. He wants paid in this deal.
All right, but here's the thing though to remember. How do we always and agents and everybody except Pittsburgh media, how do we value these contracts? It's the new money average, right? And
Sure.
that's why when he points to these rankings and all like that of where he ranks as far as interior defensive lineman and defensive lineman, those are rankings based on new money average, right?
Sure.
All right. If all you do is move money from one year to next year, you have not increased the new money average. His ranking is going to remain the same.
Well, I mean, functionally, in terms of his, okay, even in a cash flow standpoint, I imagine he's probably lower among the list of defensive linemen. He's getting an increase in pay that moves him up the ranking of the highest paid defensive linemen or players at his position. I think that's what he's looking for.
You're talking cash for 2025 then.
Sure. I mean, I think it's all in the same bucket. I imagine, where does he rank cash flow wise among defensive linemen? I imagine on the lower end of things.
Well, I mean, I put out the that list, and I'll read this off to you here. Let me see if I can pull this up, because I pulled the cash for 2025 of the defensive linemen that are, relatively speaking, a lot of them ahead of him. Now, some of the people that are ranked ahead of him aren't guys that have had strong cash flows over the last 3 years. Here's what I pulled. Cash earnings for defensive linemen, defensive tackles, from 2023 through 2025. Okay, so this is cash earned as things are scheduled right now with all these contracts and all these players. The top is Chris Jones from 2023 through 2025 at 82.7. Then Daron Payne, 67.59. I'm not going to go through all these, but I'll list the amounts, but I'll list all the players ahead of him as far as cash earnings from 2023 through 2025 season. Chris Jones, Daron Payne, DeForest Buckner, Jeffrey Simmons, Zach Allen, Dexter Lawrence, Quinnen Williams, Nnamdi Madubuike, Kenny Clark, Javon Hargrave, Leonard Williams, Grady Jarrett, Ed Oliver, and then Cam Heyward.
But that's over the last 3 years. I'm talking about just 2025
Right.
cash flow.
Right. Well, I mean, he's going to be way down there when you consider,
Right.
you know, 14.75 million in
Right.
cash this year.
My point is, he's looking to get a raise to make him more in line with some peers, and guaranteeing next year's roster bonus does not get him any closer to that goal.
All right. So you're thinking he wants cash. Are you thinking he wants cash above and beyond what he is scheduled to earn in the final 2 years of his deal? Because if he's only looking for the security aspect of it, then guaranteeing his money next year, fully guaranteeing it, or bringing money forward from next year into this year is not going to change him on those new money average list.
I know, but he's not looking for security. He's looking for money. He wants an increase. He wants the
He
AD
mentioned
style of
security a
payment.
few times though in this
He
thing.
mentioned that, I think, in the contract he had just signed, though, right? I don't have the transcript in front of me, that those comments were in reference of signing the deal last year, correct?
Let's see here. Looking back, do you wish you had just signed a 1-year deal? For me, my family, we value stability, but at the same time, I value being valued as well. I've had conversations with my wife as things have started to pick up. Always got to put it on the wife, don't you? I can't complain about what happened because I was coming off an injury, which I chose to play through and be there for my guys. At the end of the day, I want to be there for them, regardless of if I'm on this team. But you can't cry about spilled milk. He was asked, you did get a bonus already this year, right? You got the bonus advanced. And the transcript says that was just a rational bonus. I believe that's supposed to say that was just a roster bonus.
Mm-hmm.
You had that as security as opposed to a 1 year. I think in my eyes, the way I was approached, I was asked to take a pay cut, meaning last year. We ended up getting a deal done, but when I look at the market and I look at what I've done, it's hard to really wrap my head around playing at a number where I'm not even half of what the rest of the market is. So
And that last line suggests.
And that's new money average.
Right. But the point is, he wants some increase in money, even if it's not technically reflected in new money average. It's cash flow. It's being paid more. It's not guarantee money that's already in my contract. I want additional money, is, I think, pretty clearly what Heyward is angling for.
Okay. And I look, nobody understands this more than I do about him being relative to the market and what he did last year for sure, and what he's really done over the course of the last 5 years in totality. And yeah, the couple of 2 seasons ago he missed that time with the injury and all like that. He has got a tough battle on his hands, I think, if he is wanting more cash above and beyond what he's on the books to earn these next 2 seasons right now.
And according to ESPN's Adam Schefter last night, reporting the team has not shown much appetite in working with Cam Heyward. Now, Heyward himself said he had a conversation even earlier Monday before speaking with the media to Omar Khan. We don't know how those talks went, obviously, but Schefter says things, I think, was standstill, was the quote and the word he used to describe the situation.
I think if you up his cash total, and once again, it's all about optics and how he's viewing it in his eyes and all like that. If you were to up his cash total this year by moving money ahead, then okay, he looks better from a cash perspective from what some of these guys are earning in 2025 and 2025 alone, and then he can worry about whether what happens next year. So,
right.
But if he's looking to actually get what he's earning, in other words, they're not going to. I don't think they're going to do both. They're not going to increase his cash just in general without touching the 2026 money and fully guarantee his 2026 money as part of this. I think that's just a tough ask for him based on his age and yada yada there. Now, Personally, what if I can't get the increase in cash without touching in 2025, without any of my 2026 money moving forward, I really think he should just settle with getting fully guaranteed 2026 money.
Sure, and that may be what he decides to do, but I don't think it's his ask or his angle right now. Could that change because his leverage is limited? Then maybe. Can I play Madden capologist, wave my magic wand, and tell you how this thing should go down? And it may sound funky, and you can probably poke a bunch of holes in it, Dave. Can we do that for a second?
All right.
Here's what I would do. I would take some amount of that roster bonus. I don't know what number, maybe half, maybe 3 million of that roster bonus, move it to this year, to 2025. It gives him a raise, more money in his pocket right now, what he's looking for. That solves one equation. Now, the problem with that, as we've talked about initially, was, okay, then what do you do next year? Because now he's going to be really underpaid. I would then, let's just say you take 3 million of that roster bonus, move it to money now, okay? Then you take 3 million and add it to his base salary for next year. So functionally, his cash flow next year won't change if he's on the roster. But it also, I think that comes with the agreement of, Cam, we're doing this. You can't come back to us next year and want a new contract. We're going to keep your cash flow the same, not guarantee it, but keep it the same for 2026, whatever it is, and you get your advance now. Does that kind of make sense? Where you're going to push some money now, you're going to make them, going to go back to kind of whole for 2026, and that's it. We're done talking contracts again.
So you're saying you're saying just put an additional $3 million on the books for 2025, period?
Take it from the 2026 roster bonus.
Okay.
But then to then get around the problem of, okay, he's severely underpaid for next year, add a $3 million to his base salary for 2026. So effectively, he doesn't make or lose any money in 2026, assuming he's on the roster, and he gets a $3 million or whatever number that is cash advance for 2025.
Right, but still, if here's the thing though, I mean, should he be demanding that the $3 million added to his base salary next year of $1.3 million, that would bump that up to $4.3 million in 2026, then he should at least demand that gets guaranteed, right?
No. Because like you said, you can't do both. He's getting the cash now, and he's just then being kind of made whole for next year, where there's no increase in money, there's no decrease in money, and it comes with a caveat.
They could easily, your way though, they could easily just cut him,
Yeah,
before paying what's left over of that roster bonus in March.
But what are the odds Cam Heyward's going to be cut next year, by next March? They're low. Not impossible, but they're very low. And Cam knows that, and the team knows that, everyone knows that. So you're going to assume that risk, and what you get by assuming that risk is some more money in your pocket right now.
Right, but
I don't see the downside.
Okay, you know what I'd rather want? I'd rather want all of my 2026. Don't do anything with this year's cash. Just fully guarantee my my 14.1.25 million next year.
Cam Heyward thinks he's underpaid right now, correct?
Yeah.
How does guaranteeing that money make him less underpaid?
Well, how does with there being no guarantee for 2026, he stands a chance to actually lose money by not getting any of 2026 guaranteed.
Yeah, but that's the trade-off, because he's getting money right now in my scenario. He's getting a pay raise right now.
I'm not angling for just $3 million more. If the offset is just me earning $3 million more in cash, that's a no-go for me.
I mean, whatever it is, like I said, 3, 6.
On Cam's side.
Yeah, I picked a number. You can do 6. You can do half the roster bonus, whatever it is. But the point is, you take that money from next year, move it to this year, and then make it back up in base salary next year.
Okay. I mean, I like one of my two suggestions better. Pull up half of his $12.95 million roster bonus next year into this year.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's the first step of what I'm saying, is pull that roster bonus in the next year. And then I'm doing the other part of the base salary just so he's not, making peanuts next year if he's on the roster, but I'm not guaranteeing it either. And that's the trade-off, Heyward, because like I said, you can't have both. He can't get money now and get guaranteed money next year. That's not going to happen. So it's got to be one pot or the other. And this to me is you get paid now pot, and you bank on having a good year, and not being cut, which he probably won't be, and making what you were scheduled to make in 2025 or 2026, I should say.
Okay. What do you say to the people that the argument is he's at the end of this year, the way his contract sits, or as things really stand right now, even before he gets into 2025 here, that he's already through 2024, he's earned $130 million.
Yeah, to me, that's not a really compelling argument. It's a different world. It's all about what your value is. I mean, I think, like I said, I think the PR battle, Heyward is certainly losing. The optics don't look good. They didn't look good initially about wanting a new contract, even though I think he had a justification for it. They don't look any better when you're kind of alluding to sitting games out. That's just not. You're kind of digging your own hole in that one. Now, I understand he wants to preserve leverage, but when you're asked that question, here's what you do. You punt. You say, I'm not even thinking about that right now. I just want to get a deal done, get this thing wrapped up as soon as possible, be on the field for my guys. You don't close that door, but you don't leave it open the way that he did. I think that was a misstep, a mistake by him, because the PR battle is not in his favor right now. And then just some of the stuff, on Instagram, what's he posting? Like, you either live to you either die the hero or you live to be the villain. I forget. He's posting kind of some stuff on there. That's not serving himself well whenever he's already losing this PR battle.
All right. I think the happy medium, as I said the other day when we talked about it, and what I've just said right now as well too, I think it's a tough battle for him to get more cash in 2025 plus get some guarantees as far as 2026. If he does, then it's a big win for him. When you look at his age and everything, though, and kind of based on loosely on what he put out there as far as maybe what would get him satisfied here, if they came to me, if all I could get out of this is my 2026 money fully guaranteed, I think he should take that run.
If based on what Cam Heyward has said, if he could only pick one of those things, more money now or the guarantee next year, what do you think he wants more?
I want the guaranteed money. I want all that.
What does he want from what he's saying, though? What is your interpretation?
I think he wants that $14.25 million guaranteed, fully guaranteed.
Okay. I think he wants more money right now.
All right. I don't think he's got a cash flow. I don't know. I don't know his checkbook situation, but I know he's got a lot of kids and all, but I don't think he's hurting for the cash flow. Now,
it's a point of pride. He's a very prideful man.
Yeah.
It's a point of pride. He literally said, I'm the 36th ranked defensive lineman. Is he the 36th ranked defensive lineman in play? No, not even close, obviously. And so that's what I think is irking him when he looks at it and says, I had this great year. I'm a top 5 interior defensive lineman. I'm not getting paid like that. I want to get paid something closer to that.
All right. Now look, if you just gave him flat out $3 million in new money, you're saying basically to give him $3 million from next year's money and then increase his base salary next year by $3 million, right? So $6 million in total, right?
Correct. And it comes with a caveat of, we are not doing your contract over again next year. You can have 30 sacks next season. We are keeping your contract as is because we're not doing contracts with you 3 years in a row. We're going to make you whole, so you're not playing for less money next year. If you make the team, we're not guaranteeing it either. That's how we're doing this. That is, to me, the perfect approach of everybody winning.
All right. If $6 million were added to the final 2 years in whatever way above and beyond what he's scheduled to make right now, with there being 2 years left, that's $3 million it's basically a $3 million average per year increase. That would take him only up to 17.5. It only advances him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots up the list on defensive tackles.
Sure. I mean, there's no scenario in which he's going to become a top 3 defensive lineman in terms of salary. This is negotiation. This is a leverage game of, can we recognize your work? We're not going to be able to make you feasibly a top 3 paid defensive lineman, but we're going to show some good faith, give you some money now to make you feel a little bit higher up in the rankings. And that's what you're going to have to accept, because we have leverage here. We're going to exercise that. We don't have to do anything. You can sit there and pound salt if you want to. We're working with you. That is a negotiation. That is leverage. That is how contracts go.
All right. I think the best solution for this and the most plausible outcome to this is just to guarantee his 2026 money.
I know it sounds, and I've seen it already in some of the local media circles, it sounds so shock jock like. And this conversation happened last year, this time last summer, and everyone was so mad at Cam Heyward. Everyone loved Cam Heyward after his play. But this has hurt the perception, the kind of, hate to say legacy because it seems so trite, but the legacy of Cam Heyward in the eyes of the fan base. This guy that's been a Steeler for a long time, really well liked, great community member, Walter Payton, Man of the Year award winner. But the fan base really unhappy with this ask, right or wrong. They're just unhappy about hearing about it.
Yeah, but they'll forget about it in 5 years, 6 years, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my thought is, went through this song and dance last year, and if he plays well, then everyone's happy. But he better, if he gets any sort of something done with the contract at all, he better play well. Otherwise, the fans are really going to turn on him if he does not have a good season.
Yeah, especially if they fully guarantee the money next year and do nothing. Everybody's like, okay, you did it once, go do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the stance the team's going to have as well too. Yeah, you had a fantastic, you beat Father Time. Now go do it again.
It's not even that. I think the stance is we did the contract last year, Cam. We're not doing all these contracts over and over again. You signed the contract. You knew the risk. If you wanted to play out your contract and have a great year, you could have gotten paid that way. You didn't. We worked with you. We didn't ask you to take the pay cut ultimately. That's a team standpoint of like, we worked with you once. Why are we going to work with you again?
All right, but in working and look, part of the pushback here is nobody twisted his arm to sign that deal, and
Right.
there was that report about Connor Heyward saying he shouldn't have signed a deal, and he was asked, do you wish you had just maybe signed a 1-year deal or maybe not even signed that at all? Yeah, nobody twisted his arm to take no new money last year, and make sure people that are listening to this get this straight. I've tried to power this home several times. He did not. The only win, and people say, well, you're undervaluing that one win. The only win that Cam Heyward essentially got last year was that his $16 million went from unguaranteed to fully guaranteed, and that was right before the start of the season. So it was practically guaranteed anyway. At that point. And the only other minor win that he got was the roster bonus being put in for 2025 in March. In other words, it forced the team's decision. That was an unguaranteed March roster bonus. So they could have turned around after not giving him any new money in 2024 and cut him before paying that roster bonus, and he would have been out on the street with no guaranteed money in his pocket.
And he did at least get the illusion of security, having a contract through 2026, which I think was actually important to him and maybe his family just as much. It feels like I'm going to be in Pittsburgh for the long haul. And also that signing bonus, I assume he got that money a bit sooner than he would have over his regular base salary, which also was a small benefit in his contract.
And people are saying, okay, if you were that motivated and thought you could have an all-pro year, say, all right, I'll just play out this year and take my chances of what my market value will be in 2025 as a unrestricted free agent.
Right, and that's valid, and that's why I think Heyward's taking the heat that he is in the optics of it all on social media, because he agreed to this contract. He knew what he potentially was leaving on the table, and now he's trying to go back and get it.
People are saying, why am I defending? Why do I come off as defending him? I understand more so than many people how the business. People say a contract. You should honor your contract. Well, in real world, that's fine, but NFL's not real world situation, especially when you're talking about guaranteed money and all like that. Trust me, if anybody sees the pushback on Twitter and social media and the other avenues, it's me. I get all of the things that the people throw out there, but I also am pro player and I understand market values and that everything that goes along with it. And if he had to do it all over again and knew the outcome, would he have not signed that deal and taking his chances, as an unrestricted free agent and see what his market could he have put more cash in his pocket in 2025 that way? Absolutely, he could have. But as he said, this it's spilled milk at this point, and now you just you got to look at what's happening now. So I do see both sides of it here. I do understand his argument and all like that. But on the flip side, I do understand the limitations of what I think he can ask for. And
Sure.
I do think that, and this is me pushing back against him, it would be, I think he's got a tough battle on his hands if he's expecting additional cash to be put in either of these 2 years above and beyond what he's already on the books for.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, my overall takeaway, I know we've talked about it a lot, is something will get done. What exactly that looks like, I can't tell you. And then he's going to go out there, have a good season, and everyone kind of forgets about this whole saga. It's kind of my standpoint. This is going to become moot when the ball kicks off September 7th.
Right. And I don't expect him to miss any games regardless of how this thing plays out. And obviously, I've been wrong about stuff before, but when it comes to him specifically, I'll be surprised if he misses any games. They'll get something hammered out, and I still can't help but think that the outcome of this will just be fully guaranteeing his 2026 money. And if he falls off the cliff and they have to cut him and they're out the 14-something million in cash in 2026, so be it. And if he wants to play somewhere else, then more than likely that 14-something million will be subject to offsets, if he can even get that much, above and beyond that. So, you just chalk it up to a parting gift. You just chalk it up to you paid him an extra 14 million for the 2025 season.
Yeah, I do think if there is something done with this contract, the team has to have some sort of understanding with Heyward that we're not doing another contract dance next year. Can't do that 3 years in a row when he's 37, regardless of the year that he has. So I think that's got to get hammered out too if something does get done with Cam Heyward.
Right. If they fully guarantee next year's money and he comes back and say, I had another all-pro year, let's talk about the cash. That would really be tough, especially at his age and all like that,
Yeah, it just can't happen.
Right.
So
now, if they push money forward, what if they just push money forward from his roster bonus this year, up his cash total this year, and then he comes back to the table next year after an all-pro season?
Well, that's why in my scenario, I replace that money in terms of a base salary next year, and I have the explicit understanding with Heyward of we're not doing this again next year. And that's the trade-off for you getting paid now is you're getting paid whatever you're on the books for next year, not getting a cent more, and don't come asking for more money no matter the season you have.
Look, like it or not, there is a plausible chance that 2025 is his last season.
In Pittsburgh or in the NFL?
In the NFL. I mean, it even though the percentage is probably low, it's not something that you can put a 0% on.
Yeah, when you're 36, you can't ever say 0, but I'm not seeing any. I mean, what are the odds? I mean, 10%, if that this will be his last season in the NFL?
I mean, things happen. The body could just finally give out and all.
Right. But as we talked about last year, the reason for his longevity is because his game's centered around power and strength, and that hangs on longer than athleticism and bend and finesse. I mean, he's just a strong guy, and you can have strength longer in your career than speed, for example.
He was asked, you said you were asked to take a pay cut year after you were injured. He said yes. He goes on to talk about precedent, people under the I'm not here to throw other people under the bus or talk about what happened. It's not unprecedented. There's been instances where it's happened before, and that's just kind of makes it weary just because it's not unprecedented. I think there's an easier way to get this done to still respect the Steelers and what they do. All right, within that, it is unprecedented really to kind of see a guy get more money added on to additional years, 2 years out. Now we saw the AB stuff get pushed forward.
And that's what he's referring to, it sounds like there.
Right.
Which goes back to my point. He wants money pushed forward the way that Boswell, I'm sure, is angling for that, not just guaranteeing next year's money.
Okay. And that's back to my argument of if you're not going to push all of 2020, all of the 2026 roster bonus forward into 2025, then just fully guarantee what I'm set to earn 2026, and I come out ahead better there.
I don't think that's what he wants, though. Right or wrong,
Right.
I'm not hearing him ask for that in those comments.
Okay.
Everything he refers to is I'm underpaid, the precedent, which he's implying is the AB situation. And also, if they're going to do it for Boswell, why wouldn't they do it for Cam Heyward? Because they're going to do it with Chris Boswell. I mean, they're going to push that money forward.
I mean, I think they are. I think they should. That's been my stance since April with Boz.
Right. So Hayward's going to directly see that happening across the table and say, just do that for me too.
Right. And these two are both looking at each other's situations too.
The Spider-Man meme. Yeah.
Even though we're talking about drastically different APY and position and all like that. But it would be kind of uncharted territory if they just added flat out new cash money to either one of these years above and beyond what Hayward's scheduled to earn now. And really the same with Boswell, because one of the scenarios that I put out there with Boswell is not only push some of his base salary forward to 2025, it might take another couple of $1 million in additional cash above and beyond that.
That's true. We did work those numbers because you can only push a little bit of money next year from next year to this year.
Right, because his base salary his paragraph 5 still has to be at least at the minimum.
Right, which have been getting higher and higher every year. That's how it goes. So that is interesting, but the team can't sit there and go, well, we just can't push that money forward because they're going to probably do at least some element of that with Chris Boswell.
Well, what they have to be cognizant of, and he knows this as well too, is keeping some sort of precedent.
Right, and this would still keep precedent because of the AB thing. I mean, again, overall, functionally, nothing has really impacted the team in training camp. Heyward, even if everything was hunky-dory with a contract, he would get a lot of days off. He wouldn't get a lot of, burn. He would be playing in the preseason. So, I mean, right now, things really have not changed, and it's not really impacted much of anything. Heyward missing some of these practices.
All right. Some people don't like us spending all this time on this. Other people do. I think it needed to be addressed now that Cam Heyward has talked. Is there anything else to add?
I just want to. Do you think it was a mistake for him to leave that door open about missing regular season games, or do you think he had to preserve that to keep leverage?
I think he skirted around it nicely as far as a negotiation tactic. He said that's something that. What was the exact words there? He said, I think there are definitely options out there that could reflect that. I think that's dancing. There's still some ambiguity obvious left in that, I think. But
the headlines ran as Cam Heyward leads the open to miss regular season games.
I mean,
does the PR battle matter? Does the PR battle matter in these things? Do you care about that?
Not in the long run. Not in the long run, I don't think. Now, could he have said that's a bridge? I mean, even if he would have said that's a bridge that to cross the closer we get to the season, that still could be construed as I'd be willing to sit out some games.
Yeah, but it's harder to write that headline. I think it's not going to come as clean.
It would be he didn't. It could be written as he didn't rule it out.
Yeah, I fair.
The optics overall, the way it would be portrayed by the media, us, whatever, would still be, well, he didn't close the door to missing any games. And even if he says no comment, I mean, what is that getting?
I know it's just a little. I think there could have been a better way to answer that overall. I don't think he's handled this well from the PR standpoint. Now, does he care about that? Does it ultimately matter? Does it matter as long as he gets paid and gets what he wants? Then maybe not. But I don't think he's done a great job handling that with his comments on that, and also just some of the social media stuff that he's been posting.
All right. I mean, look, this was going to come to a head at some point. Would it have been better for this to come to a head in February?
I mean, I'm sure for him, I think the team probably had no big appetite to do that back in February. I mean, I think he just had more of a TJ Watt approach, or just like very quietly, and he's got to talk to the media at some point, and Watt didn't really have to.
Watt still posted the peace sign and admitted he
Yeah,
was...
I mean, I think I don't think that was a great idea, but I think he has a little more leverage and a little more. He's got a better approach from the fan base. The fan base was more receptive to TJ Watt getting a deal than Cam Heyward getting a deal.
All right. Okay.
Even though it was lukewarm on Watt, because somewhere like trade him. But I mean, ultimately, does PR battle really matter? No. I just think that's been handled super well by Cam.
All right. My final take on this. What do I think he deserves right now from looking at both sides of all this? What do I think is something that he should consider? I go back to what I said. I think in good faith from the organization, and what Cam should take is, I think they should just guarantee his 2026 money and say, look, we're going to guarantee this. If you have an all-pro season, this is what it is right now. But if we have to cut you, we'll pay you that $14.25 million, shake your hand and wish you well in retirement and give you a gold watch, whatever. But that's it. I think, looking at both sides, I think that's the best plausible thing for both sides here.
Okay, fair enough. I think he's going to want some money pushed up for 2025. We'll see what his ask is, or we'll see at least what the outcome is. I think ultimately something gets done, something gets tweaked, something gets addressed. This thing's put to bed, and we all move on, and Heyward has a good season.
All right, if he doesn't get new money in either one of these 2 years, whether it be pushing money forward from 2026 or getting 2026 money fully guaranteed, how do you think, A, will the fan base understand it? B, how will they accept that outcome?
Well, if he doesn't get either, then what is he getting? What is door number 3?
No. I mean, if he gets, if the solution is no new money, period.
Okay.
Regardless of how, either guaranteeing next year or pushing forward money from 2026 to 2025. In other words, he's not getting a dime more than what he's on the books to technically earn over the next 2 years. It's just how and when he's getting it potentially.
Mm-hmm. I see what you're saying.
Will the fan base, A, understand it, and B, if they do understand it, will they be on board with it?
No, I think they're going to be against any sort of contract revision, no matter what that looks like, big or small, cash advance or future guaranteed, because I think the viewpoint is you just sign the contract, honor the contract, stop asking for more money, stop being greedy.
All right.
But ultimately, if he has a sack in week 1, then we just go, yay, Cam Heyward, we love you, Cam Heyward, and everything's happy.
Uh-huh.
All right, Dave, let's move on to the other Heyward, Connor Heyward, who's not been the Heywards not having a good time on social media right now. Each time I tweet anything about Connor Heyward, people are just like, we hate him, stop tweeting about him, you're lying, like all that kind of stuff. What do you want to talk about with Connor Heyward, Dave?
First and foremost, did any one of we went into training camp wondering if any of these back-end tight ends or fullbacks or whatever, or even extreme special teamers maybe at another position threaten his spot on the 53-man roster. Based on what you have seen in all areas so far, has anybody threatened his roster spot?
Short answer, no. Long answer, no. No one did.
All right. And that's not his fault.
I mean, Connor Heyward had a good camp, and DJ Thomas Jones was hurt and then got cut, and Galbraith is practice squad material at best. He's not an inline blocker. So, yeah, I mean, Heyward is your number four tight end.
All right. The only way at this point right now, if Connor Heyward does not make the 53-man roster, one would obviously be injury. Two would have to be the team just not keeping 4 quote unquote tight ends. Number 3 would be another position player out. And that would technically fall under the not keeping the 4 tight ends, or you go outside the organization and you get another tight end that could be your 4th that also can play on special teams.
Right. And I think all those scenarios, not impossible, but unlikely.
All right. And look, I mean, I get the pushback on that. He's he's not a great blocker, but he is Aaron Rodgers made sure to say he's a smart player, and he's not a great special teams player, but he is an above average special teams player.
Yeah, he's a multi-unit guy. I mean, he's not a core, like all-pro Miles Killebrew or, Clint Creedwell, some of those names of yesteryear, but he's a capable teamer that's athletic. This team wants to run 4 tight end personnel from time to time. He's your number 4 tight end. That's all fine to me.
All right. So, barring anything significant happening here, people ought to prepare themselves for Connor Heyward. And this has nothing to do with being the younger brother of Cam Heyward or what. Some people are saying they should give Cam his money and just cut Connor Heyward.
It's not how it works.
And that's not how it works. But I mean, people should be prepared right now for Connor Heyward, at least as we sit here today on August 13th, for Connor Heyward to make the 53-man roster, right?
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. This is not your number 2 tight end. This is not a core piece of your offense. He was limited last year. I think Arthur Smith really didn't know how to use him. I don't think he's really a great system fit, but he's number 4 tight end. Going to be playing a couple offensive snaps a game, if that. You have 3 tight ends ahead that are going to have clear roles and are getting paid. And Darnell's a unicorn as a blocker that can do things that no tight end can do, much less, Connor Heyward's limitations as an inline guy. So he's going to play maybe 3 snaps a game offensively, play on special teams. I got no issue.
All right. All right. On the subject of tight ends, this just isn't specific to Connor Heyward, but it's a few times we've talked about the tight end position, and a few times I've brought up, man, I wish I could remember what Bill Belichick's theory and was on tight ends. I finally tracked down that damn thing that old tweet post that I was looking for, and this dates back to 1991. All right, and this was kind of Bill Belichick's thoughts on position groups and what he and the organization should be looking for with the position groups. And when you get to the tight ends specifically, Bill Belichick breaks them down as number 1 tight end, number 2 or number 3 tight end, and then works from there. Here is what Bill Belichick looked for out of a number 1 tight end. All right, and then you're supposed to chime in of who is that guy?
Okay.
On the roster here. So
we're playing a game of Clue here, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's an exercise. All right.
Okay, gotcha.
Number 1 the number 1 tight end has to be a catcher. Ozzie Newsome, Keith Jackson types. Don't need the off line type guy in a tight end's jersey. Take what we can get from him on the blocking. Just gets in the way and tie up. We can work around his blocking ability. Catch, run, block.
I mean, it's 2 guys that's describing, Pat Fryermuth and Jonnu Smith. Probably a little more Jonnu than Fryermuth if you made me choose one or the other, but it's describing really both guys.
Agreed. I would put Jonnu Smith as more of that guy. Don't need him to be off the line type, offensive line type guy is what that means in a tight. In other words, he does not have to look and block like Darnell Washington. Right. Take what we can get from him on the blocking, just gets in the way and tie up. So he looks for that number 1 tight end as far as the blocking component to just be get in the way, just do something. As far as the number 1, the main focus is his catching ability and basically like a wide receiver in a tight end jersey. All right.
Gotcha. Was he with Cleveland at this time in 91?
91, I think he was, right?
That sounds right. I'm just in my head. I'm just trying to get a stage where Belichick was at in his career.
All right. Number 2 or number 3 tight end needs to be the blocker for situational running situations. Can also use the in-betweener, not quite a tight end, but not fast enough to be a wideout. He notes Novacek, Houlihan type guy, 6'3", 235 minimum type guy, needs to be big enough to get in the way. Good measure of tight end is always what he does with the ball after the catch. Don't let the lack of blocking ability eliminate a good player. So that's for number 2 or number 3 tight end.
Again, that's similar to Freiermuth and Smith. I guess if you maybe choose between those two labels, tight end 1, tight end 2, tight end 1 does sound more like Freiermuth, and tight end 2 sounds more like Johnny Smith and kind of the run after aspect of it. More like not quite receiver, not quite tight end, but kind of tweener. It fits the both, but probably Smith more as tight end 2.
All right, so basically you've got two guys that combined together could fit the number 1 role, right?
Sure.
All right. And number 2 or number 3 tight end needs to be the blocker. What do you say about that? Number 2 or number 3 tight end needs to be the blocker for situational running situation. Can also use the in-betweener, not quite a tight end, but not fast enough to be a wideout. So really, I mean, you've got a combination of 2 within there as well too, with Freiermuth and Darnell Washington, right?
Yeah, I mean, I got you. What is tight end 3?
Well, he's got number 2 or number 3 tight end.
Okay, he combined those 2.
Right. So basically, you got the best of both worlds between 2 and 3 when you say between Freiermuth and Darnell Washington.
So he doesn't have a pure blocker label on any of these tight ends.
No.
Okay.
No.
Now, Belichick's always been one to care less about blocking for receivers, for example. He doesn't give a crap if a receiver can block at all. That's why he went out and got Randy Moss. He doesn't care what those guys do as blockers. So his philosophy has always been a little less about blocking and more about playmaking for the skill guys.
All right. As part of this, he does break down the wideouts. You want to go over those?
Oh, sure. I mean, maybe I'll be proven wrong here, but my understanding is, from what I can recall, that he doesn't care about blocking for receivers. But yeah, go ahead.
All right, number 1, has to be able to get off the line of scrimmage, whether with size, speed, quicks, or any combination of the 3. Then has to be able must be able to catch, can improve hands to some degree. Has to be able to run, discipline routes, not necessarily smart, just discipline, cannot do his own thing. Receiver needs good running ability after the catch. Want to hit the receivers on the run and let them run with the ball either over, elude, or by with speed. Speed only enters the equation in relation to the player's ability to escape the line of scrimmage. Good leap and timing are more important than speed. Need good upper body strength and quickness. Frail guy without good quickness is dead. A mismatch type guy, quick, elusive, big, physical type guy, or any combo of those qualities can be your third receiver.
Okay, well, number 1, it's describing more that DK Metcalf type.
Right. And he doesn't list here like a number 2, but I think he's mainly looking at what he's looking for as number 1. And if either of those guys can't be a number 1, they fall into the number 3.
And he did not use the word block one time in any of those descriptions, which I think goes back to He doesn't care if those guys can block or not. It's not right or wrong. It's just different from an Arthur Smith who cares about receiver blocking. In the RBIs, he talks about those receivers making downfield blocks that spring others for big plays. So here's what I have. This is from my big book of Arthur Smith, and this is not verbatim. I can go back and try to find the quote on the clinic he did, but this is kind of the equivalent of Belichick at tight end and what Arthur Smith is looking for at tight end. These are my words, but this is how I paraphrased his thoughts after the hire. I have, quote, Smith was asked for what he's looking for in a tight end. He says they don't have to be amazing blockers, but willing and competent. They have to be able to displace the Sam linebacker on wide zone. Smith says they can't be a team that only runs open, as into the weak side and away from the tight end. He has to be able to run strong side, end quote.
Okay.
Can Connor Heyward, does he fit that bill?
He's not much of a blocker.
He's willing, but he's not competent. I don't think he fits the displace the Sam linebacker on wide zone. And I think that's why he's really struggled to find a fit in this offense last year.
Right. And that's why he's nothing more in the NFL than a number 4 special teamer.
At least in this system. Maybe in other systems that's more H-back friendly, there could be something there. Think about San Francisco or some Jack, something like that. But in this system, number 4. But as number 4 tight end, I mean, obviously injuries can happen, but you got 4 tight ends out there. Whenever he's on the field, he's not going to be the key point of attack blocker, obviously.
I guess this goes back to, and look, we expect this team to run a lot of 12 and 13 personnel and occasional 14 personnel within that. But all that said, barring injury, you're not expecting Connor Heyward to play a lot of offensive snaps for you, right?
No, like I said, 3 a game. I mean, if the group stays healthy, he's not seeing really any snaps. He hardly saw snaps last year when the group was healthy. What happens though if they lose Darnell Washington? How valuable is Darnell Washington?
Yeah,
Because if you lose a Freiermuth or a Smith, you have a receiver to replace. If you lose a
Yeah.
Darnell, who's your blocker?
Yeah. I mean that he's got to be an integral part of this thing.
Shouldn't they find another blocker, even if it's a guy on the practice squad?
That's kind of where I'm going here. Knowing Connor Heyward's strengths and weaknesses, and the only thing that he has going for him technically is he's listed as a tight end. Can you do better there?
If you're looking for a blocker, yes. But if you're looking for some game day value, if the group is healthy, then it may be harder to find that because he can wear a lot of hats.
Would if Connor Heyward was waived or cut, would he land on another 53-man roster?
I don't know. I mean, he'd be borderline. He'd be somewhere on a practice squad at the least, but would he be a 53? He'd probably be on a practice squad, get elevated.
Could you get him to the practice squad and then elevate him? Be one of your elevations and then carve out a roster spot for somebody else?
You could, but I guess in a team's mind, maybe why risk it? Who you get in the hat for that you can't go cut instead and get to the practice squad? So I expect Connor to make it. I do think adding a blocking tight end though would be a good idea. I mean, if you lost to Washington, you probably would do some more sixth offensive lineman type stuff. You saw Dylan Cook report eligible in his preseason opener. It has its limitations. Obviously, he's not going to offer you anything as a receiver, but I guess that's one workaround to losing Washington.
Right. I think they should do their due diligence around stadiums in the preseason of maybe finding a guy. But I mean, those guys, a lot of teams are looking for as well too, as potentially a third tight end that could block and be a special teamer.
Yeah, I would at least find a blocking type to put on the practice squad. Those guys are pretty common. I mean, I've always cited like the Eric Tomlinsons of the world, real cheap, low-level blocking type of guy. I think they should have that, though, on the practice squad, just in case there was an injury. Who is the most valuable tight end in this tight end room? It's kind of the similar question that I've been asking, but how would you answer that, Dave?
Well, yeah, I mean, you go out and trade for a guy like Jonnu and knowing how much you're going to run. I think it's a 1A, 1B, really.
Between who?
Depending on what you're wanting to run, really, between Jonnu and Darnell.
Not Pat, not Freiermuth. Why do you give the nod to Jonnu Smith over Pat Freiermuth?
I just think what he does after the catch and all like that. I mean, you've got a quasi wide receiver in playing the tight end position.
I agree. Yeah, that's probably how it. Now, if I made you choose, gun to your head, you got to choose one, Jonnu or Darnell Washington, the most valuable tight end. Who would you pick? Who's 1A at the least?
But I keep Pat Freiermuth, and I could add somebody else off the street potentially. Or
I'm not even asking about it. I'm just like, who's the most valuable tight end?
Darnell's going to have to play a big role in this if this running game's going to, and the protection and all like that. If they want to do some of the things that I think Arthur Smith wants to do on offense, I think Darnell Washington is a big hate the pun component of that.
I agree. I think what he's able to offer you, like even on the sack in that preseason game, the things that Darnell allows you to do, you can do full slide protection and have Darnell stay in and block a pass rusher one-on-one. I mean, most teams can't do that. And so you can now dedicate, when you're facing Myles Garrett, for example, you can now full slide that way and have, say, Malu and Broderick Jones double Garrett, and you can have Washington occasionally, not every snap, obviously, but you can occasionally have Washington on the other. Who's the other edge rusher in Cleveland right now? Alex Wright? I'm not even sure who they have right now, but you can do those things that most teams cannot do to handle some of those top pass rushers. And you're facing top pass rushers at the beginning of the year. I mentioned McDonald and Grenard and, Garrett twice a year, all that kind of stuff. So I think Washington really gives you some unique things you can do in this offense that most offenses can't do.
How perfect would this roster be, though, knowing that they're going, that they probably want 4 tight ends on this roster if they were somehow able to upgrade the number? And you're looking deep down, but you never know when one of those guys might get knocked out of the game for whatever reason. due to injury, then if you still want to run your same stuff, Connor Heyward's going to have to be a part of that. Man, if they were able to find a blocking tight end that could at least play on 2 special teams units and be functional within that, I mean, that's an upgrade, right? Because what does Connor Heyward do well as far as the blocking goes? It's really the split zone cuts, right?
Yeah, it's some Y-off, some backside cut blocks, sure, on split zone action, sure.
I mean, you're flipping a coin anytime you put them on the end line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it's hard to find that blocker that can play on special teams because the blocker is usually some heavy-legged guy that really can't move that well in space. I mean, they tried Michael Pruitt on punt team last year. I don't like that kind of stuff. So it's harder to thread that needle, I think, to get what you're looking for in terms of guys that are available and cuts. So I mean, if
most are looking for that player to be their number 3 anyway.
Right. So I think they should go sign a pure blocker on the practice squad, like not special team or just pure best blocking tight end. You can go add some big body. But outside of that, you're going to keep your 4.
All right. How did you enjoy that? Was that worthy
fun.
of a discussion with what Belichick? People say, "Why you did talk about?" Look, Belichick's obviously had success in this league, so I thought, and that this stuff has always stuck in my head.
Yeah, no, I listened to an all-time great coach. What does he think? But I think it's just very philosophically different than Arthur Smith. So it's a different conversation because what Belichick looks for and what Arthur Smith looks for, to me, really could not be any more different.
And really at the top of this thing too, organization must be aggressive on all fronts. I think he likes, and he gets into. I'll have to forward this to you, and I'll post this on Twitter as well too. But it's just interesting to read.
Here's my overall, and this is much less intelligent than Bill Belichick, obviously, my philosophy at receiver. Your number 1 receiver should be your alpha, the guy that opposing defenses must game plan around and must, really try to take away. If you don't have a guy at that kind of level, then he's not your number 1 receiver. That's how I define that. I think DK Metcalf is that type of guy. Every DC starting their game plan, how do we stop DK Metcalf? Is like your number 1 question in the pass game. Number 2 receiver, his job is to be able to win the one-on-one matchups created by the double teams and attention the number 1 receiver gets. Does Pittsburgh have that right now? Calvin Austin, we'll see. He's been hurt most of camp. But that's my definition, number 2. Number 3 should be that situational playmaker, that occasional big play kind of guy, not going to be a volume type receiver, but will occasionally, create the big play for your offense. Number 4 then kind of gets into more depth, special teams value. I think a guy that can be a chain mover, third down reception, smart route runner, savvy, tough guy over the middle. That's how I create my theory of receivers in their roles.
All right. Let's end with this. Bill Belichick's overall organizational thoughts from 1991 on offense.
Okay.
All right. Make defense defend the middle of the field first by running and throwing inside. Work from the inside out in terms of blocking and protection. When defense commits more players inside, then we can attack the outside, run, and pass. Need some type of powerful element in the running game. Need big upfront people to knock guys off the ball. Need in/X back, S backs. What is in/S?
Slot backs? I'm not sure. I'm not looking at it, so I can't tell you for sure.
In/S back.
Nickel backs? Is he referring like a nickel, like defensively?
No, he's talking about running backs. Need in/S backs. Need at least 2 like Kevin Mack who can punish straight ahead. Need 1 eligible receiver who has a point of attack blocker. Ratherman, Carthon type guy who can execute the blocking in the running game. Passing game must protect quarterback in middle. Need size and strength guys who won't get driven back. Backs and tight ends need to be able to catch, not necessarily to be elusive. Third down receivers who can get off line of scrimmage and not get jammed and obviously catch the ball. Want 3 receivers and running back type guys, Meggett/Metcalf type. When the defense takes away all the in stuff, then we will go outside with run and pass.
It's funny you mentioned Metcalf, just not DK, obviously, but that was Eric Metcalf. So, yeah, I mean, that all seems, it still, I think, holds up pretty true to today.
Mhm.
So,
So
yeah, interesting. That was a old footage, like a Twitter clip?
yeah, let me forward. I should have DM'd this to you in our
Is it like the
in
old
our
football
90-minute
films? Yeah,
uh
in our pre-production meeting?
pre-production meeting there, but you'll have that to look at there.
All right, thank you, Dave. Yeah, good conversation there. All right, Dave, let's go to the All-22 from 91 to 2025. The Steelers preseason opener against Jacksonville, the All-22, a little delayed, so we didn't get a chance to talk about it. That's why we did not have the formal Monday show. So we've gone through the tape now, Dave. Let's start offensively. Speaking of offense and what kind of stuck out to you there, obviously the offense seemed to be moving the ball pretty well.
I think there's several main takeaways. First, it was very vanilla overall that you would expect from the offense there. I like the fact that both quarterbacks pushed the football down the field for a better part of the game. When you look at personnel, this is where it gets dangerous to reading too much into offensive scheme and play calling. During the preseason, the Steelers used 11 personnel, and we talked about what to kind of expect going into the game based on the health of the tight ends and based on how they probably want to look at several of these wide receivers and all like that. They used 11 personnel on 45 plays against the Jaguars and 12 personnel they used just 20 times. On 4 of those 20 plays that they ran 12 personnel on, Dylan Cook was used as a second tight end or a sixth offensive lineman on the field there. So that's a takeaway there. 10 of the 20 plays that used 12 personnel versus the Jaguars were run in the fourth quarter as well. So that means the first 3 quarters, it was really lopsided. The Steelers used 11 personnel on 41 plays and 12 personnel on just 10 plays. That's not reflective of what this team's going to do during the regular season, first and foremost.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you understand this, but I don't really take any stock in the personnel groupings of a preseason game.
Right. You're wanting to get guys looks as many looks and situations that you can get on the field in a given play. You were short on tight ends. I don't think we're going to change, even if some of these tight ends play Saturday night, and we'll see about Freiermuth and Johnny Smith. This isn't going to change. You're going to see a lot of 11 personnel. I thought the first 15 plays where the starters were in there, I think the offensive line overall did well in pass protection, not as great. And obviously you only had Darnell out there for a handful of snaps. The run game blocking was a little less to be desired overall there. They were just trying to feel their way out. There wasn't a lot there for the running backs to get overall. So offensively, I thought the wide receivers stepped up in big moments of the game. Even Max Hurlman down. I mean, that's a tough catch to make down the field, down the seam from that ball from Skylar Thompson there. I thought he showed good stuff. I thought several of the receivers, you name it, did well in the passing game. So this just wasn't a dink and dunk overall. I think Caleb Johnson had a lot of probably nerves going on in this one. He's got to leak out on that sack by Mason Rudolph. Mason looks at him as a last minute valve. Safety valve. He wasn't there. He was still tied up on the line of scrimmage. So that ended up in basically a coverage sack, if you will. What else? First team. Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers did confirm that Caleb Johnson had to leak out there. Yeah, just for anyone wondering.
And then the very next play, he dropped the pass over to the side there. We did not get to see Caleb Johnson in any kind of true blitz kind of pickup, if you will. So there's still you probably want to see some of that moving forward here. But overall, I think as far as the skill positions went at wide receiver and the limited tight ends that you had out there and the quarterback position, I thought there was obviously some positives there.
How did you evaluate Caleb Johnson as a runner? There was one still shot, which is very dangerous, I find, on Twitter going around of him bouncing around where it looked like the hole was open up the middle. It actually was his longest run of the game. It was that 6-yarder where I think the one where that photo of Travis Hunter, of him looking like he kind of stiff-armed Travis Hunter, it's kind of funny how which picture do you choose tells you if it was a good run or a bad run. The still shot of him missing the hole or the one of him getting away from Hunter. But what was your evaluation overall of Johnson besides go ahead.
It's dangerous to look at clips like that. Would he have got 7 yards or more had he tried to take that up the middle? I say potentially no. The way the linebackers all were flowing to things and looked like they were working to take that away from him. Could he maybe have pressed that to the line a little closer and then tried to cut it out? All in all, it's results oriented, right? He got 7 yards by getting to the outside.
Is it sustainable? Can you consistently do that? I think he would want to have that play back. I think the still shot doesn't paint an accurate picture, but I think consistently you can't bounce it like that. That's like a college run. If I can bounce anything, and you're not going to do that consistently at the NFL level.
Right. Do you take the 4 or 5 yards with the ability to break one versus probably the lesser likelihood that you're going to get 4 or 5 yards by bouncing it?
Yeah. I think it's a play he'd like to have back, but it's not like, oh my God, this guy's Najee Harris, he sucks, he's Trent Richardson, he has nobody. It's his first game. You learn, those things, they're more concerning if it's year 3 and the guy's still doing that. So let's give it time.
Right. And look, I mean, that's what preseason's for. Let's see how he does and the line, because other than that one run, there wasn't a lot for him to run for yardage wise.
He almost caught the corner on an earlier run where he just tripped up. And if he had caught the corner, then he's got probably a 10-plus yard run there, and the day probably feels a bit different. But yeah, the running room was pretty minimal.
All right. That's the first 15. What did you think about the offensive line first 15?
Yeah, I thought it was good overall. I think the line did a nice job. The Darnell Washington touchdown, the pocket's really strong. Frazier using a hop step to anchor. Spencer Anderson mirroring inside. Bartani. I thought Bartani played a really strong game overall. I know the PFF grade was low, I think, because he got dinged with the penalty, but you see that veteran nature. He flashes the dead hand, varying his sets, really getting guys to show their moves. I mean, he's facing Walker, and I know, is it Allen Hines or Hines Allen? I always forget which way on Josh Allen, but I don't know if he faced him. I think it was more Broderick Jones, but I think overall Bartani played a really nice game.
All right. What did you think about that illegal hands call? Ticky-tack or?
I don't think I even looked at that one in particular.
I put it up on my feed.
Did you?
There. You must have missed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of meh. I mean, I think that's why his PFF's grade was dinged.
Right. Yeah, they get you pretty good on the penalties, and only playing 15 snaps, and you have a pretty small number of snaps to work with to bounce back from. So I thought overall, I don't care about the PFF grade. I thought he played really well.
All right. What else offense later in it? Look, Max Hurlman, I said this the other day, he's a football player. I just, how do you carve out a roster spot for that? Especially he only played 4 special team snaps, 3 on kickoff return where I think he was a deep guy, one of the 2 deep guys, and the other one on a punt on a punt coverage team there. So,
but he had a tackle on the punt coverage team. It was a great rep. He beat the vice. It was the same foot, same shoulder tackle. I mean, that's a really impressive rep to end your day on.
Right. Here's the thing that I'm looking for out of him. Will they up his special team snaps on punt kickoff coverage type
thing?
Should. I think that's something you got to give him a chance to show it.
I mean, they only punted 3 times in this game. Typically, you're punting more in a preseason game. You're not always put up 31 points. So they probably just punted less. They probably intended for him to get maybe 2-3 reps on special teams on the punt coverage team and just didn't have him because of the game. Just things you can't control. So I thought, obviously, as a receiver, he looked good. The touchdown, the catch down the seam, all very good. But what he did without the ball in his hands, whether that's blocking, cracking down.
Very willing blocker. Super willing.
Yeah, not always. I thought it was pretty effective.
Not always. He got pushed back on one of them. I mean, he's got the size limitation that he got pushed back into the running back on one of them.
Yeah, I think he went to try to crack the safety, and the safety cracked him instead. But there were some other places, downfield, sticking, driving, running your feet, making a tackle on punt teams. I thought there were some really fun things without the ball that Hurlman did well. That's really going to help his odds of sticking. I still think more practice squad than 53, but that number 5 spot is not locked down. It is fluid. I think your top 4 are locked in of Metcalf, Austin, Skoranek, and Roman Wilson. That number 5 spot was Scotty Miller, Robert Woods. I think you invite the other receivers, Keyshawn Williams, Max Hurlman, Rock Taylor. I think they're much more likely practice squad than 53, but I think you keep this thing open to the end.
Keyshawn Williams, I think it was him out on the edge on that sermon touchdown there. Look, Sermon probably walks into the end zone anyway, but it was good effort by him out on the edge, tying up the DB.
Yeah, I mean, he made some plays without the ball in his hands too. That play, I mean, he worked on even on the Hurlman tackle on that punt. Williams was first guy down. He missed a tackle, which is a negative, but he was still had that speed downfield. So I thought he did some nice things overall in the combat catch and even on that first reception he had, which was I don't know, was it like a 25-yard gain or so? Getting up immediately, not that college mindset of, oh, I'm down, I'm not touched, and just small things like that in your first game, which it's just good to see from a rookie that's aware of like, hey, this isn't college anymore. No one touched me. I'm getting up. I'm getting a bunch of which is great play.
All right. What about some of the backup offensive? I thought as a whole the wide receiver group played well. Scotty Miller made a couple of plays, and there's not much to talk about as far as the tight end, other than knowing that Galbraith isn't that guy. You're not that guy.
Yeah, as a blocker, he was getting pushed around a good bit, but it's not really his. He's more receiver than blocker.
All right, backup offensive lineman. You had mentioned last night, I believe, about the snaps from Sharping.
Yeah, I feel like the count six high snaps for Max Sharping. Now they were all corralled, which was thankful, but the snaps seemed pretty high. He's not a natural center. He's really more of a guard than he is a center, but he's getting a lot of burn at the pivot. The backup offensive line, they not very good. I thought Cook was okay. Everyone else, Nestor,
Aiden Williams graded out okay on PFF, but if forced to choose best of the rest, he was the best of the rest, but the bar wasn't very high.
Yeah, I think Stephen Jones, like I mentioned on the camp recap show yesterday, probably the best of the rest offensive linemen just overall in training camp. Aiden Williams, who's hurt now, by the way. I don't know what his status is going to be going forward. Just too small, not strong enough. Doesn't have the sand in the pants. So the game was okay. He's athletic. You see him out there on the screen.
Right.
He's showing that in camp. But yeah, it just, Gareth Warren. This could be a thing, Dave, where Pittsburgh signs like 4 or 5 offensive linemen from other cutdowns to the practice squad after the season. I'm just not seeing a whole lot there.
And look, tackles are a commodity too. So it's going to be hard to find that guy,
Yeah, it's not going to make anyone good, but I think you might get some new blood in for your offensive line. I mean, it's what the kind of they did last year. They brought Nestor in. They bring anybody else in at the cutdowns last year. I mean, you might kind of retool that offensive line practice squad group.
Yeah, Nestor outside of, and I think he gave a little ground on one of those runs over to the left side by Lou Nichols. I thought Nestor did a good job of turning his guy inside, but I think that was about the highlight for him.
Yeah, he was getting pushed around a little bit. I mean, it's tough. The first game, you're trying to work on your combo rules and your zone run game. There was some, they rep it every day in training camp, but, whenever it's live, it's a different thing. So it was kind of messy. Yeah, the run blocking just wasn't very good. I thought pass pro was okay. On the touchdown to Keyshawn Williams, there was misprotection. The one tech runs too free. That was a screw up, but pass pro was okay. Run blocking was pretty poor.
And then on the sack of Skylar Thompson, was that Stephen Jones at right tackle at that time? He just stopped moving his feet.
It was Gareth Warren.
Oh, it was Warren? Okay.
Well,
he just stopped. He just, like he thought the ball, I don't know, maybe he thought the ball was going to get out a little quicker there, but I mean, there's no reason to stop moving your feet there.
Yeah, I think Warren's got size, a decent base, but his foot speed's pretty slow, struggling to redirect, change directions as that DN doubled back. So, yeah, I'm not seeing it there with Gareth Warren. He's also got the knee issue. He's not really a right tackle, but it was not a particularly good game.
I thought Dylan Cook was okay. Pete didn't really stick out all that much.
Why do you think everyone, when I made my roster prediction, and you probably will get the same feedback whenever you make yours, we talk about it Friday, everyone's like, you don't have Andres Pete on your 53? Am I crazy, or should I be including this guy on my 53? I
mean, not what we saw the other night, no. I mean, other than having position flexibility and obviously having the pedigree, I mean, he certainly didn't dominate in his 21 snaps. If you would have told me that's a former first round draft pick out there, I wouldn't have known it.
Yeah, he's got a resume, but that doesn't get you on a 53.
Right.
It's all about what you're doing right now. So maybe he makes it. Maybe he plays well these next couple games. Right. He just got to Pittsburgh and he just got in the game, but I'm not sitting there going, oh my God, Andres Pete's going to definitely make this 53.
Right. Nothing that I saw on tape and look, he's got 2 more games to improve on that. We'll obviously see if Calvin Anderson can make it back and whatnot. But I mean, I think that could very well. I think you could get that same guy maybe from a cut down. You know.
Yeah, 100%. So we'll see. But yeah, the backup offensive line, not great. Anything else there offensively, Dave? I mean, Thompson, Rudolph, any other different impressions from?
I mean, Evan Hall is a high effort guy. Found his way back to get that fumble, which was a key point in that game. But outside of that, not much to talk about.
Lou Nichols ran well.
Yeah, Lou Nichols did run well. Could be a potential practice squad guy. Yeah, I think that's all I got on there.
All right, defensively, a lot of intrigue here, especially on that defensive line. Derek Harmon, YA Black, really getting to dive into the all-22 on those 2 guys. What you think, Dave?
Boy, Black stuck out more than anybody on that defensive line. We saw him be able to get those arms outstretched to lock out and then get off to make a run tackle. I think a couple of push pulls within there as far as the pass rush goes. I like the way he ran to the football. I liked a lot of the effort. He didn't miss the one tackle getting off and moving over to the left side. Had he made that tackle, he would have probably been up there in the 90s as far as his PFF run grade overall. So the only 10 snaps. I wanted more. Give me more. Curious to why he only played 10 snaps in this game.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit. I think just circumstances, the rotation of guys, and them not playing him late in that one. And maybe it was the elbow. I mean, he missed yesterday his practice, and he had that big brace in the game. So maybe there was a little something there. I'm not quite sure, but it was really good. I mean, just the pressure he got. He's the guy that's really surprised me. And maybe I think I was too low on this guy initially. He's got more athleticism, more juice, more energy. He can, I think, rush the passer more effectively than what I saw. Granted, limited time, and he's facing some rookies too. But yeah, that was an impactful game across just 10 snaps.
He's going to block at least one extra point or a field goal this year. He got up there on that 70-yarder and all, and yeah, the ball usually comes out a little bit lower, obviously, the further out that you get. But he can, I mean, you can see that reach with him, and you put him in the middle of that thing, he's going to have one blocked field goal or one blocked extra point at least this year. But I like what I saw of him. I just wanted to see more. In fact, two of his 10 snaps were against the run. The other 8 were as a pass rusher. So I want to see him play against the run more.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see all more, but I certainly want to see the run game. What about Harmon? He got a lot of burn in this one, 30-something snaps. I felt a little bit better about his performance watching the all-22 back. What did you think?
I thought he used the hands very well. I think he had one inside pressure, I think, overall, or hurry, at least in this game. It was just an average first time out for him. I think there was about 2 plays that maybe jumped out of the 32 in total with him. But I think there are traits there. Look, they were trying to, I think, get the ball out pretty quick. The Steelers front as a whole, all through all units, did not do a great job getting pressure in this game. But I thought there was some hand usage there and a little bit of quickness to at least hang his hat on.
Yeah, I think he was active. I think he was energetic. I think he used his hands well. He just wasn't really beating blocks consistently, and I want to see that more from him going forward.
Right.
But he had, I thought he had good step off the line. He showed a little bit of power. And you're right, on that interception that was called back, Harmon did have a good bull rush to help collapse that pocket.
Right. And Black had another one that was in the face on the, I think on the Loudermilk penalty.
That was the interception by McCutcheon,
right.
Latrobe penalty.
Right.
Was Black on the field too?
Was he in on that one, or was it Harmon?
It was Harmon that collapsed the pocket.
I'm getting the 2 plays confused then. Then Harmon was in on that one then.
Yeah. No, you made that point the other day. I went back and checked, and he had a good bull rush on that rep. So yeah, we'll see more next time out. Jack Sawyer, I thought Sawyer played okay, maybe a little better than I thought initially, but the pressure overall as a unit was underwhelming.
Yeah, a lot of times he had to line up either on or just outside the tight end, which made him a little bit further. From a pass rush standpoint, there wasn't a lot to look at overall there. High effort guy. I think he's a guy that still has the potential to get home a couple of times during the preseason here.
Yeah,
He
no, I'm
just
with
missed
you there.
one, I think. Didn't he have like an arm on the quarterback at one time, a little bit too far up the arc on one of those there?
I charted a pressure or two in this one. I forget. You're probably right though.
All right. Thought Eccles really showed out in this game really well. Very smart guy on that almost interception of him gaining depth within there and almost picking that off. I think he showed good awareness, a lot of good physicality. This guy's not afraid to tackle at all. You can use guys like that, especially on the outside. God forbid that you need him to jump in there and play on the outside. So I thought Eccles really represented himself well. That Thornhill hit early in the game kind of let you know that he can click and close and has good awareness to balls going. I think he said in the interview the other day that he was rolling through his head. They're not really going to throw this, are they? And they did. So I thought he represented himself well. Beanie Bishop, I don't think had a good game overall. I know he gets the credit for like one of those pass breakups, but he probably should have been beat on that
Wheel.
yeah, on that wheel there on one of them, had that ball got laid out there. I think he's got to do a better job with the tackling and the run defense component of his game. So I don't think he should have graded out maybe as good as he did on PFF there. Thought Peyton Wilson really looked comfortable in the 12 snaps that he played in this thing. Who else?
I thought Malik Harrison had a good game. He was physical, downhill, shocking and jolting guys back in the run game. I got some clips of that I'll post. I thought Cole Holcomb played well. I mean, he had to break up on third down, getting over the top on that throw in the flat. He impacted another throw over the middle. A couple screens that I wouldn't really put on him, but a couple of tunnel screens that Jacksonville had success on throughout this game. But I thought Holcomb, for all he's been through in that first game back, looked good.
I think Cole Holcomb looked healthy overall. It's good to see him back out there. Man, as far as people that stood out though, overall, I mean, they did a good job of tackling the catch, I guess, for the most part. Jacksonville did leave a couple of plays out on the field. One of those was, I think, a drop against, was it Beanie that on the right side, the tight end, I think,
Yeah,
dropped.
that was against Beanie.
Dropped one there that was open there. James Pierre, I asked you last night, is James Pierre a better practice player than he is in game? Because on one of those completions over to the right side, the change of direction. I mean, I know that in out kind of is a tough route to cover there, but he looked sloppy with the change of direction. He wasn't even close to the completion out to that side there, and obviously he was playing off coverage on that touchdown, which I think was man in that. He just too much runway. That was too easy of a pitch and catch when it comes to there. The short, the 7 yard or what by Tootin, the run that just can't happen. You got to get that guy to the ground within that. It was just very vanilla defensively as far as performance went, especially once you got past halftime. There wasn't a lot to get excited about, I don't think, after halftime on defense.
If the tush push rule to ban that was passed, would that touchdown by Tootin been illegal?
Oh, I had to go back and look at it.
It doesn't matter. I'm just kind of being silly, but yeah, I agree that they can't have that kind of push into the end zone. I think Pierre is just always a hot and cold player. That's kind of been the story of his career. Some really good plays, some really bad ones. I think he had both. I think he had a nice tackle on Travis Hunter on third down, get off the field in that first drive, gave up the touchdown. That was tough. That was no help in the middle. Got the whole field to defend there. That's a tough play overall, but gave up the touchdown all the same. What else do I have in my notes here? I thought Eku Leota had a decent game, showing the burst off the line. Let's see, defensive line and backup defensive lineman for Hoko, I thought played okay. Dominique Davis did all right, but yeah, nothing else really sticking out. I think Echols, like you said, playing well in the flat, making that tackle on that smoke screen, and then from cover 2 flat, getting depth, breaking up that pass on. I think it was a third down play, so that was just a really good play by him. He's the guy that's going to be a top backup corner and maybe even your dime guy in those 60 packages.
I didn't see anything really to get excited about. Logan Lee only played 5 snaps, so that's not a lot to evaluate. Loudermilk is just same Loudermilk.
Yep.
He looks a little bigger, I think. There's just, I mean, once you got past halftime, there's just there wasn't a lot to write about other than maybe some missed tackles. I think being the highlight of the defense in the second half.
I know it's very vanilla this time of year. I thought there were some defensive disguises. I thought Thornhill disguised a couple things, and there were a couple interesting match coverages. It felt like maybe once with Beanie Bishop coming across in motion. So saw a couple different wrinkles there, but obviously pretty limited overall in terms of their blitzing. You know, it's funny. I was thinking back. I don't think they ran dime once in training camp. Usually they do in that third down period, third and long, and you see the 60 Bs come on. Is that because they didn't want to show it, or because they're not going to run dime because Trice got hurt, or because they're super confident that Wilson and Queen can cover? That'll be something to watch. We're not going to probably see any dime in the preseason. You rarely do, but that's a little note I didn't realize. I don't think they ran dime once in training camp.
They only gave up, and look, preseason, they gave up 3 explosive plays on defense, but all 3 of those came in the fourth quarter of this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's reflective of some of your backups being in. So if there's a time for it to happen, you don't want it to ever happen. But if there was a time late in the game for some guys who won't be on the 53, then I guess that's the time for it to occur.
Conversely, the Steelers had 5 explosive plays during the game, 3 of which came in the first 3 quarters.
And almost a 6 because Darnold's doesn't count. It was 19, right? It was 1 yard shy of explosive.
Yeah.
But I'll call that explosive because it puts that ball in the end zone.
Right.
Quickly, Terrell Austin speaking, both coordinators spoke recently. He talked about the backup slot battle going down to the wire. Who do you think he was referring to? Eccles and Bishop, or Bishop and Jameson? What did you make of those comments?
Yeah, that's a great question. I forgot about that.
I wish there would have been a follow-up to clarify that.
Yeah.
Is Bishop safe?
Look, I don't think you can write him in and pin. No.
Will someone replace him? Will they just keep fewer corners? How does he get moved off the roster?
I mean, if you're comfortable with Eccles to move inside, or Slay to in emergency have to move inside, and if you're going to, but on the flip side, knowing that this team's going to roll out 3 cornerbacks a lot of times on this roster, it's tough. And Beanie's not the best tackler, and that hurts his special teams value on top of it.
How many special team snaps did Bishop play in this game? Can you pull that up?
Yeah, he had, let's see here, 6.
We know what units those came on?
I can look real quick for you here.
Just to make sure they weren't like field goal block team. I'm trying to think. I don't remember. I think kick coverage. I think pretty sure he was on kick coverage. I don't know if all 6 came there. Maybe they kicked off a bunch in this one. It might have been all kick coverage, actually.
Let's see. He special teams, all 6 on kick coverage.
Okay, we'll see if they get more. Bernie didn't punt a lot in this one, so maybe that's a factor. But yeah, I don't know if he's safe, but I wonder how he comes off the roster. I haven't gotten to that. Haven't figured out that part yet.
Right. And like we say a lot of times, we still got 3 weeks to go for the first game. These things come out in the wash, either through favorable or unfavorable circumstances.
Yeah, but we have 13 days till cutdowns, and that's the deadline. I mean, obviously,
look, you cannot make unless Trice gets healthy in a hurry. He's got to. If anybody, he would probably be the most logical guy to force Beanie maybe out of there, right?
Yeah, or Dante Kent, if he was healthy too, then he'd have an even stronger battle in the slot because Kent's getting slot work. If you cut Bishop, I think you're only keeping 5 corners, and it's hard to see them only keep 5 corners. You'd have Slay and Porter and Ramsey and Eccles. Pierre is your special teamer. I think they keep 6 and have Bishop. Now, does Bishop dress? What's his role? That's a question I think that's more open. But until at least one of these corners gets healthy and gets back and makes some plays, I think Bishop's still going to make it.
Here's what we need to see: a better game. I'm not going to say he's not going to make it, obviously, but you want to see a better showing in the second preseason game.
What % odds would you bank on him making the initial 53?
I think he's 50-50 right now.
You think it's 50-50?
Yeah, I do think I think it's 50-50 because I want to see. I mean, if he can't help you on special teams, and do you trust him? Who do you trust more in the slot? I mean, yeah, look, his rookie season, he intercepted Aaron Rodgers a couple of times, but there was a lot left to be desired with Beanie in his rookie season on defense.
I agree, and I took him off the field the second half of the year.
This will get framed as me hating Beanie Bishop.
No.
I don't hate Beanie Bishop. I think he did a lot of good things, but I mean, there were still things that you would like to see, an improvement on.
I think 50-50, because again, what does it look like if he's off the roster? I mean, is it
I'd
5 corners, 2 to 6? Is it
we'll,
Jameson making it?
We'll talk about it on Friday because I'll have my roster prediction out there. And I have to relook at the math and all like that, but I mean, he very well could be in there,
Yeah, no, I get it. I don't think he's safe. I don't know what number I would put him on. Maybe 80-20, make it not 75-25, something like that. But we'll talk about it Friday. Anything else from the coordinators or any players? Aaron Rodgers spoke. He'll miss training camp very much, although he's looking forward to be back in his bed, as he said. Austin, Arthur Smith spoke. Anything stick out?
No, because I want to save room. I want to make sure we save room for the pivot.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, let's do that right now. Jalen Ramsey, the pivot crew of Ryan Clark, Shannon Crowder, Fred Taylor. They've had some interviews go up. They had the one with Mike Tomlin. They had one with Jalen Ramsey go up yesterday. The Ramsey one was more in-depth, a longer interview. This was conducted, I think, last week. It's been kind of delayed a little bit and then finally posted. Really good interview. Everyone should go listen to it. But what were your thoughts and takeaways? First
of all, the one with Tomlin I thought was good, but I thought the one with Jalen Ramsey was out of this world good. In fact, I found myself getting a little bit too excited while watching that overall there. I will tell you this, that there is no doubt that this guy is bought in to everything. He was bought into Mike Tomlin before even being traded to the Steelers. It's clear and evident of that. This guy is bought into everything that Mike Tomlin's doing, to what the team is doing, to what they're going to be on defense. This guy is looking to make a statement not only for himself but for the defense this year. This guy, and look, I've called him a mercenary and all like that, but this is a guy that I think originally we said, maybe 2 years and then gone. And I'm rethinking that now. This guy, if things go the right way, I think could spend the next 4 or 5 years in the black and gold. There was one point, I don't know if you picked up on it, where he's talking and about Tomlin and the team, and Ryan Clark stops and says, "Damn, you already are Pittsburgh," something along those lines.
Yeah,
right?
He said like seeking comfort, which is such a Tomlinism. He's already adopting the language.
And Ryan Clark interjected there that had me rolling on the floor there.
You're excited, man. You sound giddy like a schoolboy right now.
I've got to, I got to be careful here. I'm glad we didn't do a podcast right after watching it, because boy, I am excited about this guy. This guy is a dude. This guy doesn't, even though he understands his role of being a leader on the team and all like that. He knows that, and he didn't say this, but you just got a sense that he knows that other, they've got leaders on this team, much in the way that kind of Aaron Rodgers kind of views that, at least on the defensive side of football. I thought it was great with him saying how he deals with Joey Porter Jr. and who gets first reps and all like that. And that's just going to make Joey Porter Jr. hungrier. The way he, Jamar Chase, boy, look out. Jalen Ramsey's job on this team is to shut down the number one, wherever that number one goes. There's no guessing game. I'm thinking about this. He wanted and likes the idea of moving around. He don't just want to be bored out there on the corner on an island and all like that. This guy is as bought in, genuine as they come. And look, I have watched a lot of Jalen Ramsey interviews throughout his career just by monitoring the internet and everything I do. This was the most insightful one and best one I've ever seen with him. And not if he was wearing a different uniform, I'd have the same takeaway here. This guy is all in.
I really enjoyed the interview. I thought it was really fun, really candid. And yeah, I keep using the word presence with Jalen Ramsey. You kind of felt that in his conversation. Like he knows he's the dude. He's here to be the number one. He's not being disrespectful to Porter or Slay. I loved his conversations about, or his references about Darius Slay. Like Slay's a chill dude. Like, hey, Jalen, you want to be number one? Like, you want to be the guy? Hey, cool with me, man. Go first in the rep. So that's a fun dynamic there, I think. But yeah, I thought it was really interesting. And you're right. I mean, he knows he's here to take on some of these alpha receivers, the Jamar Chases of the world. I wonder what's going to happen, though, because whenever it's been Porter and Slay and Ramsey on the field, I think in basically every instance, Ramsey's been in the slot. So what if Chase is outside on a particular rep, which he will often be? Is then, I mean, Ramsey, I assume, will cover him on the outside, but then I wonder who moves to the slot.
Yeah, good question. And we're definitely going to find out. But that guy wants all the smoke. Give it to him.
No doubt about it.
I don't care. I don't care if Jamar Chase has to take a break, go and go to the bathroom, and whatnot. He needs to be on him, following him, just to make sure he don't get loose or anything like that. I mean, that's what this guy's job is, and he knows it. He wants it.
I agree.
That's that's probably an inappropriate way to describe. If he goes to if he forgot something in his car, has to go get something out of his car. Jalen Ramsey needs to follow him out there.
No, I get your point. I mean, he's got the mentality that Pittsburgh is looking for: the playmakers, the alphas, the presence, the physicality. He's probably shown that in practice. He had a really good training camp. He had a great practice yesterday. He's back to full health, and so that's all really positive. I'm going to bring it down though, just one notch, Dave. This is, I think, the honeymoon period. He's only been a Steeler for 6 weeks now.
Sure. I get that. And that was kind of, I have wondered about that, the mercenary thing and all like that. And what if things,
because it always ends in a trade. Every stop, he's been traded 3 times.
Sure. Look, I've called him a mercenary. If this thing goes, look, he's expecting this team to win some games, period.
Yes, sir.
Period.
He's here to help them win games.
Yeah, period. And he's going to help them win games. So as long as that happens and this thing, this team is in the thick of things, which he expects to happen, I don't think it will. I don't think it will. I've gone from wondering if this guy is going to be a rental guy for 2 years to kind of wondering if this might be his final stop. He went out and bought a truck and ditched the roles, and I think he's all in on this, man.
I think he is too.
It changed my viewpoint on a couple things with him.
Yeah. It was great in Canada. He talked about that he was just he wasn't praying to go to any team. He wanted to go to a team that felt like the right place and was home and got back to football. And it sounds like a great relationship with his father. His father sounds like an awesome dude. He's like, Jalen, let's get back to roots and get back to basics this offseason and really kind of get back to our game. But I assume he had that same thought in Miami. And in Los Angeles, we had a really good relationship with Sean McVay, and that didn't work out there ultimately. So I'm still of the mindset if you get 2 good years from him, I'm happy. Anything else is gravy, and I hope he stays longer. Yeah, look, he's talked about potentially moving to safety, full time, and talked about Woodson and all like that, and trying to pattern. He's the guy that he most would like to have, I guess, the career like when all is said and done there. Hey, here's the takeaway here too. They definitely can't afford to lose this guy, to injure him. He's going to be that important to this defense with what you want to do with moving him around and all like that. There's no way I play this guy during the preseason at all. And in between, once the regular season, when he leaves the facility, I wrap him in bubble wrap and ice, and I send 2 guys with him just to make sure nothing happens to him. I mean, that's how important I think this guy is going to be to this defense. Got a lot of watching Jamar Chase, watching Jalen Ramsey. Did the 2 guys have to go with Jalen Ramsey whenever Jamar Chase goes to his car? How does that work? No, I mean, on game day, I think everything's fine. It just every time in between when you're not having a game. But I mean, this guy could really make a big impact. Hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully he is. If he is that dude still, he's going to make a big impact on what this team wants to do defensively. And this kind of plays into what Mike Tomlin said in his pivot. You got to be a man cover team in today's NFL. You have got to be able to be man cover team. At least when you need to be, like against the Bengals, and you want to blitz some more, then you got to trust your guys in the back end to cover. It's probably one reason why Pittsburgh didn't blitz as much last year. They were a little shaky in their coverage in their corners. Dante Jackson, who was hurt a lot, and Porter was still growing and trying to get there. So that's probably one reason why they were a little less aggressive with their pass rush last season. You know what? I know there's certainly a critique about Pittsburgh being an older team and adding all these old heads, all these veterans, Rodgers, Ramsey, Slate. But man, you get some students of the game, who know the history. Rodgers, dang near knows everybody's bio and football card, basically. Jalen Ramsey mentioning, like you said, Woodson winning DPOY's 9th or 10th year, just stuff like that. Like, these guys know who came before them. They know the history. They know some of the greats. And I'm going to be old man shaking fists at the cloud. I don't know if today's younger generation has an appreciation for some of the peers like the Rodgers and the Slays and the Ramseys do, not just in resume, but in the way they talk about those guys too. They seem to revere some of those names.
2 other points I want to hit on. Mike Tomlin just talking about the smarts and how much Jalen Ramsey just loves the game of football. And he has said the same thing quite a bit about Aaron Rodgers as well, too. Those guys just are smart. They understand every facet of the game. They love the game of football. That stuck out to me. The second thing, which you kind of hit on, about Aaron Rodgers and look, Russ, here's the thing that ran through my head. He said that these guys are afraid to let Aaron Rodgers down. All right. Now, Russell Wilson was that team guy as well, too. Could rattle off all the guys' names and all like that. Do you feel that there was the same sentiment last year on offense with the guys not wanting to let Russell Wilson down, maybe to the degree that Jalen tried to sell this in his interview?
Short answer, and it's still so early into the season.
And we don't know the answer to this question, but
right. It does feel a bit different. Maybe there's some black and gold glasses, tinted ones that I'm wearing here, but it does feel a little bit different. Or I think Rodgers has done a great job trying to connect with guys. I think Rodgers is certainly, well, I want to be careful with my words here. He certainly feels a little more genuine than Mr. Mayer, the kind of Russ was. I think Russ is a good dude overall, but it feels like Rodgers is certainly a different type of personality, and maybe that will create better connections with players.
All right. That guy's a dude, though, and if you're listening to this, and for some reason you have not watched the Ryan Clark interview with Jalen Ramsey, it's 45 minutes. It had me wanting to run through a wall. This defense, man. Here comes 12-year-old Dave. Man, this defense, if this defense plays up to what we think it can, this team's going to be in a lot of ball games,
And Mike Tomlin's not even hiding that. He said we have a chance to do historic things defensively. And usually Tomlin's a little more pull back the reins. They got to go out there and prove it, write the story. And he said all that. But to even use the word historic about what the defense could be, he said we have the talent, we have the schematics. He is making sure the bar is set high for these guys to keep chasing that.
Yeah.
That outcome.
And I also like the point that Jalen made about Mike Tomlin about when certain guys aren't in there taking reps or what, for whatever reason. And look, I'm sure this is unique to the Steelers organization, but he really made a point to say that no, this team does not expect any drop off. If you're up there on the field in a practice rep or for whatever reason running with the ones, you're supposed to produce the results.
And that's a standard that gets created when you have really great players. This is what we expect, and that was shown in the 2008 defense, and the 2010 defense, and the 2005 defense. Like, this is the standard that you have to uphold, no matter if you're first string, second string, third string. And again, as we talked about in our camp episode yesterday, this cornerback room is as good as it's been, and I don't know how long. I literally can't think of a time when this cornerback room was as good as it is right now.
All right. I'm not going to say any more because I've got the virus right now. So let's watch how the rest of the preseason plays out in the roster and kind of go from there.
Can I give you one last injection of the virus? You made the mention a couple times in the offseason. Jalen Ramsey never had more than 4 interceptions in a single season. You think he changes that this year?
Oh man, I'm it's dangerous saying this so close. He could have 7.
I love it, Dave. Dan, I'm gonna get you a Ramsey jersey, dude. You
Oh
are fawning over
man.
this guy. I love it.
You know, this guy wants to be around the football. And the tape obviously, I mean, he's a you better know where that guy is on the field.
Mm-hmm.
You better know where he is on the field as a
Or he'll
opposing
let you know.
offense.
He'll let you know.
Or he will let you know. Yeah, he will let you know he's on the field. So yeah, it's dangerous for me to say any more right now after watching that interview, and it's been less than 12 hours. So come get me in a couple more weeks.
All right. Before we get Dave a cold shower, let's get to some reader emails and close out today's show.
I mean, you feel the same way after watching that, right?
Oh yeah, no, it was a great interview. I mean, I was excited too. I mean, probably not at your level. I come out of my shoes, I think, if I was at your level right now, but no, it was super exciting. But I still have that thought of this guy's probably had there were some great honeymoon periods in Los Angeles and in Miami, and you never know how things go a couple years from now. But I think you're gonna get 2 good years out of this guy at least.
Steve Novakovic writes in, hello, Dave and Alex. Thanks for the awesome training camp coverage. I've enjoyed your repeated banter about DeMarvin Leal this summer, whom you have referred to as an athletic freak. Now that DeMarvin has seemingly moved to outside linebacker, could he become the Steelers' answer to covering athletic tight ends? We struggle with this every year. DeMarvin's size and athleticism would seem to match up well against receiving tight ends. He ran a 5.0 40-yard, and Brock tells me the average speed of receiving tight end is around 4.7. He says, am I missing something? I'm not keeping DeMarvin Leal for the rare drop into coverage and running with a tight end first and foremost.
I mean, Leo's got to make the 53 first, which I think is still outside possibility, still outside looking in. No, your athletes at linebacker to cover those guys are going to be your Peyton Wilsons of the world, maybe Patrick Queen, maybe some safety help as well. It's not going to be an outside linebacker thing. Those guys rush. That's what they get paid to do overall. So Leo, I don't think makes the 53. No, he's not going to be the answer for tight ends.
All right, Jeff Berg writes in, I saw Clayton Eckert's piece on PFF grades. I saw Aiden Williams rated as good in 54 snaps. What do you think so far after seeing the tape? Is he maybe practice squad material, or does he have a chance to make the 53? Jeff, we talked a little bit about Aiden earlier in the show there. I don't see him making the 53. I think there might be, depending on, look, he was the best, in my opinion, of the rest of the offensive linemen that played, and the bar was low within that. I think at best he's practice squad material.
If that, and right now he was currently MIA yesterday, so I want to see the injury situation on him. Hopefully there's no serious ailment there. I practice squad at best, and even then I think it's pushing it.
Luke Weaver writes in, thank you for all the training camp coverage. This is going to be a long show, Alex. Reading Alex's reports and listening to the two of you discuss it is truly the most exciting time of the season for me. Request for you. Please rank the run blocking ability of our tight ends. I'm curious, especially where Jonnu and JJ Galbraith stack up with the guys we already know. Follow-up question. How useful is lining up in 13 or 14 personnel to run the ball against heavy defenses and stacked boxes if your tight end room isn't deep with good run blockers? Would you be better off running a third tackle eligible instead of Connor Heyward, or just splitting out one or two of your speedy wide receivers to keep the safeties honest? All right, Luke, hopefully you enjoyed a lot of our tight end talk in this show there. JJ Galbraith is not that guy as far as a blocker. He's probably not, he shouldn't make this 53-man roster as we stand here right now. We already talked about, Connor Heyward, his strength is coming across him maybe on some of those split zones as a cut blocker, or maybe getting in some guys' way on other aspects there. Darnell is obviously your best blocking tight end on this team, and then it would probably go Pat Freiermuth and then Jonnu Smith after that, and then Connor, and then whoever.
So going first to last, you would say Washington, then Freiermuth?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still want to watch more Jonnu. It's really close between Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith. I'll go with you. I'll match you. I'll say Washington, Freiermuth, Smith, Heyward, Galbraith.
All right, how useful is lining up in 13 or 14 personnel to run the ball against heavy defenses and stacked boxes if your tight end room isn't deep with good run blockers? Yeah, yeah. He asked if running a third tight end or third tackle eligible instead of Connor Hayward and all like that. Look, if you're going to put 3 tight ends out on the field in 13, I'm going to guess that Connor Hayward probably not going to be one of them.
Not if they're healthy. No, I mean you mix and match a little bit, obviously, but not generally. No, it can still be valuable for sure because the NFL is cyclical. We've seen linebackers get smaller, defenses get smaller, faster, defend, speedy skill guys defend the entire width of the field, the quick passing game, RPO game, that kind of stuff. And so you force those guys to try to match up. And even though it's not the greatest blockers, you got some size, you got some beef out there. Also, remember you can go 14 personnel or 04 personnel and spread the field. So defenses want to go heavy and bring in all the run stopping guys. You spread the field. You got talented pass catchers across the board. Fryermuth, Darnell, Jonnu Smith, even Connor Hayward. Now you're forcing that rundown linebacker to go walk out, displace, and go cover a route and put those guys in really uncomfortable situations. So the allure of the personnel grouping is as much the chess match and always staying one step ahead and making the defense wrong. If they go lighter, go heavy and tight and run. They go heavy, play the run, then spread it out and throw the ball, which gives you, the flexibility to always kind of be a step ahead. So that to me is the real allure of what 4 tight ends can offer this offense.
Amen. Praise. Amen.
This has become really more sermon today.
Yeah.
We are really in church here, and the length of the podcast matches, I think, a Sunday service.
All right. From Mexico City, Rodrigo Alvarez Morphy. All right. From Mexico City. Hi, guys. Just wanted to get your thoughts on whether Omar Khan will do basically the same thing as last year, meaning nothing on getting a real wide receiver too. He says it is frustrating to see this team with no good wide receiver 2 option. Yeah, that's a great question. That's what we're all kind of looking at, especially with Calvin Austin kind of being a little dinged up right now. And looking at, Roman, I thought had a good trip out Saturday night against Jacksonville. Want to see more of him against the Buccaneers and how things develop there. But when you look at cash right now, and obviously they could spend more, and you look at what's out there, don't be surprised if they do nothing. I see a lot of people talking about Odell Beckham Jr. and all like that, but I'll tell you this: if Odell Beckham Jr. is your answer, A, it better be a veteran benefit contract, and B, you better have a split salary clause in there because that guy has a problem staying healthy.
Let's build the best roster from 2017, Dave. Let's bring them all in. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen some stuff. I think Odell made a comment on Club Random with Bill Maher. I'm not even sure what the comment is. We're through the looking glass on that, but I don't think anything's going to happen. If it does, we'll talk about it, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I think Omar really thinks that he can get away with things as is right now. To be honest with you.
Jonnu Smith was brought in to help be a receiver too, and same with Fryermuth, and that's how a lot of Arthur Smith's offenses have been constructed. But point taken, it's concerning, and I'm less concerned about the number 2 receiver and more of who becomes number 1 if DK Metcalf goes down for 3 weeks, like George Pickens did last year. So that is still my biggest fear overall with the receiver room.
All right, Austin Hackett writes in, just hoping you can remind fans, if you haven't already, that are saying Cam and his agent should have negotiated for incentives, his contract that would have rewarded him if he were all-pro in 2024, that Steelers don't do incentives and contracts for non-quarterbacks. Can't tell you how many times I'm seeing on Twitter saying he should have done this and blaming Heyward for not getting a contract stipulation that the team likely would have never agreed to. Shout out to you and Alex. I think you have done a phenomenal job on this topic since the story came out last Friday. I get fans' frustrations with him being in contract disputes, back-to-back training camps, but in my opinion, that's more the team and their outdated contract philosophies than it is on Heyward. Look, I seen a lot of people have said he should have had incentives or the team should have gave him incentives, and like I'm not above that have had happening, but this team just does not like doing incentives in contracts. So that seems like that never would have been a possibility unless they would have changed some precedents here.
Yeah, I think that's a logical thought for a different franchise with a different structure and system. It probably was not going to fly in Pittsburgh.
All right, Bill Ewan. Hey guys, love the show and thanks for all the daily camp content. Excited to be talking about actual football again. My question is about wide receivers. Assuming no moves are made, who is the fifth? DK, Calvin Anderson, Roman Wilson, and Skoranek are locks. Do they keep Woods, Miller, or one of the undrafted guys? I see no reason to keep Woods, he says. Miller looks good, and the undrafted free agents look so promising. Who would you keep, and who do you think the Steelers will keep? That's going to be one of the most interesting questions to get answered here moving forward. And I agree right now. And look, Skoranek did not play any on special teams the other night. And I think that's because they know what they have there with him. Heck, Scotty Miller didn't play any special teams, and that might be because they know what they have have there. It'll be interesting to see how much burn. How many snaps did Robert Woods even? I don't think Robert Woods played any special team snaps.
I mean, it's never really been his wheelhouse. He's done a little bit of return work. He's been on the punt return line.
None for him. Here's a name that we haven't been talking about a lot, Alex. Brandon Johnson played 11 special team snaps in this game.
What units? Trying to think. Kick return? Had to been a kick return. I don't know if I charted that yet. I mean, probably multiple units. That 11 probably is not all coming from one unit. He was not on punt coverage, I don't believe. And he wouldn't have been on.
Here. I'll get you the answer here.
Punt return,
Jammer? Kick coverage, 6 on kick return.
Okay, so kick coverage and kick return. Yeah, he was a touchdown machine. He's got some size, but should we include him in the number 5 discussion?
I mean, because of the special teams ability, because of what you got, because of, he did find his way as an elevation last year. Not that relates to, does he give you the elusiveness and the playmaking that a Scotty Miller does? No.
He played 15 special team snaps in Denver, so it's pretty light. I mean, he's getting some burn there. I mean, here's my stance on this. They got 13 days to figure out number 5 receiver. They're going to use all 13 days to figure out number 5 receiver. This thing will truly go down to the wire.
Trying to see who else played on special teams at the wide receiver position.
Keyshawn Hurlman played a couple snaps for, you said?
Keyshawn Williams played 6. Hurlman played, 4?
Yeah, Williams did. He had at least one gunner rep with Hurlman. He also obviously was a punt returner in this one. Had a good
McCutcheon played 8, but he's not going to. Rock Taylor played 7. Could Rock Taylor be in the discussion?
I mean, he is. I still think for all the rookies, practice squad seems more likely, but we'll see. We got 2 more games, more practices, figure it out.
Yeah, look, that's going to be one of the hardest spots, I think, right, to fill?
Yeah, we'll talk about it Friday. When I made my roster, I felt like this thing's pretty kind of easy, almost like concerningly easy, with only a couple real, I don't know which direction to go, and receiver was certainly one of them.
All right. Roster construction. No, I got that from Bill. Wesley, this is too long from Wesley Meyer. Maybe we'll save this for Friday. Make sure to re-up this to me, Wesley. All right, we've gone, how long have we gone? 2 hours and 10 minutes?
Longer than that. Yeah, 2 hours plus.
All right. Hopefully that makes up for not having a Monday show, right? And we'll be back at it on Friday. We'll talk about our 53-man roster predictions. We'll start previewing the game against the Buccaneers. We'll talk about maybe what things that happened during the scrimmage and all like that. So, Chalk, I had a blast today. This 2+ hours flew by, Alex. Any final thoughts here?
No, fun show. Quick news. Sauce Gardner's got a calf issue, according to Aaron Glenn. I don't know how serious that is. And Shedeur Sanders is hurt again, not practicing. Oblique, looks like, on him.
All right. Tyrod Taylor banged up for the Jets with getting a knee scoped. Calls into question his week 1 availability. I got a sneaky feeling Skylar Thompson winds up on the Jets.
It's not a bad shot to call.
All right, let's get out of here now. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Steelers Depot. Follow Alex at Alex_Kozora. Follow the show at Terrible Podcast. Email the show, theterriblepodcast@gmail.com. Let us know some of your thoughts on everything that we covered today. Cam's contract, tight ends, the pivot, Jalen Ramsey. We covered a lot of different stuff today. The Terrible Podcast at gmail.com. If you like what we do and want to donate, SteelersDepot.com, hit the donate button. Also, if you'd like an ad-free version of the site, SteelersDepot.com, hit the ad-free button, follow the directions that way. Until Friday, as always, thanks for listening to the Terrible Podcast with Dave and Alex.